welcome to Tales in the Dark. I know many of you enjoy relaxing with these videos, so I recommend turning down the volume until my voice is barely audible. It'll make the experience even more soothing. Before you close your eyes, let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Over 99% of viewers aren't subscribed. It costs you nothing, but it's an enormous support for us to keep creating these relaxing stories. Thank you and enjoy listening. Story 1. As the soft autumn rain tapped against the windows, creating a melodic lullaby, I found myself nestled in the embrace of my new abode. The Victorian house, a relic of bygone eras, had stood deserted until it beckoned me to its threshold. The weathered facade whispered tales of yesteryears, secrets carried on the wind. That first evening, with twilight casting a gentle spell of purples and grays, I sat in my reading nook amidst towers of unpacked boxes, enveloped in the scent of aged wood and leather-bound books. The house had a rhythm, a way of breathing. Yes, breathing, for that's how I perceived the soft creak of floorboards and the hushed sighs of air through vintage vents. Each sound felt intentional, like a dialogue unfolding in a cryptic tongue just beyond my grasp. The wallpaper, adorned with faded silver vines on cream backgrounds, seemed to sway and twirl in my peripheral vision, teasing a dance that vanished when directly beheld. Sensitivity to a place's aura was not new to me, yet this house exuded a different aura. It wasn't hostile, but inviting, like a snug quilt on a wintry night. Yet beneath that cozy veneer lay a mysterious undercurrent, prompting me to pause at certain corners and doorways. It wasn't fear that gripped me, but a profound curiosity, as if the house yearned to share its untold tales. The first oddity unfolded in the second week of my stay. Sorting books in the library, a grand chamber with towering shelves and bay windows, I caught a soft, unfamiliar hum wafting through the air. The melody, reminiscent of an ancient lullaby, seemed to shift around me. Initially, I thought it emanated from outside, perhaps a passing car or a neighbor's window ajar. But as I neared the window, the hum migrated deeper within, echoing from the house itself. Pursuing the tune led me to the upstairs corridor, where the sound grew clearer, no longer tethered to a specific direction, but emanating from the very walls. The humming vibrated subtly, palpable against the wallpaper when I touched it. The paper felt alive, warm like flesh, pulsating beneath my fingertips. That night, as rain serenaded me to sleep, I discerned patterns in the house's ambient sounds. The creaks and sighs weren't random. They followed cadences akin to speech, swift and urgent at times, leisurely and contemplative at others, always purposeful. Drifting into slumber, I strived to decipher these enigmatic dialogues each night. With time, I unraveled more. The house harbored distinct voices, varying with the day's passage. Mornings ushered in light, ethereal whispers ascending with the sun, while evenings resonated with deeper, sonorous tones. The basement murmured in grandfatherly rumbles, akin to storytelling, whereas the attic murmured gentle, zephyr-like whispers, akin to breezes through loose shingles. Recording the house's communications became my habit. Each room possessed a unique persona, a unique dialect. The kitchen grew animated during cooking, tiles warming beneath my feet unexpectedly, guiding me to unanticipated ingredients enriching my recipes. The library seemed to hum contentedly when I read aloud, its echoes reverberating in harmonic waves. One drizzly evening, as I savored tea in my reading chair, a wondrous sight unfurled. The wallpaper's silver vines began to ripple overtly, unlike the subtle undulations I'd grown accustomed to. Swathes of wall undulated like water, the vines twisting into letter-like shapes before melding back into their original pattern. I remained transfixed, witnessing this spectacle with awe rather than dread. The house had never instilled fear. Even now, amidst impossibilities manifesting, I felt privileged, as if granted a glimpse of something rare and exquisite. Letters materialized and morphed, too swift initially to decipher, yet slowing gradually until I discerned words. Remember them. The message recurred before the vines returned to their usual state, leaving me to ponder its significance. That night, I dreamt of the house's inception, envisioning families congregating in the rooms now mine, children maturing within these walls, emotions and events etching the building's very essence. The house absorbed it all: laughter, tears, secrets, and jubilations. Come dawn, I delved into the house's history. Archives at the local library unveiled photographs and manuscripts unveiling past generations of dwellers. Each family left its imprint, an initial carved here, a ceiling painted there. Yet more significantly, they left stories, sentiments, vitality. The house evolved into a living chronicle of all who had resided within. My comprehension deepened alongside the house's disclosures. Walls didn't merely speak, they sang, they whispered, they shared memories transcending mundane perception. At times on hushed nights, I sensed the erstwhile denizens' presence, not as specters, but as echoes etched in the house's memory. The house divulged specific messages, guiding me through light and shadow, wind and structure shifts, unveiling hidden treasures, photographs concealed behind baseboards, letters forgotten in attic alcoves, relics weaving past residents' narratives together. Each revelation felt like a boon, a confidential communion between me and the house. I learned of romances that bloomed in the garden, of children blossoming into artists and visionaries, of tranquil afternoons spent by the bay windows. The house remembered them all, now sharing these recollections with me. Never did I feel solitary within its walls, nor overcrowded. The presence was comforting, akin to a sage companion ever near, yet never intrusive. On stormy nights, the house cocooned me protectively, its creaks and murmurs crafting a lullaby that cradled me to rest. Seasons shifted, and so did the house's voice. Spring evoked light, melodious tones wafting from floorboards like morning mist. Summer imbued walls with warm, languid harmonies mirroring the golden afternoon glow. Autumn's voice resonated rich and wistful, while winter intoned deep, contemplative reverberations akin to distant cathedral bells. I pondered if the house chose its occupants as much as they chose it. Had it beckoned prior families subtly? Had they sensed the unexplainable rightness I felt upon first crossing its threshold? Records indicated families staying for decades, departing only out of necessity. In the still depth of night, when the line blurred betwixt wakefulness and slumber, walls bared their profoundest secrets, not in words or sounds, but in emotions and impressions settling in my mind like snow on soft earth. These messages were profound, emotions and memories too intricate for language to encapsulate. The house divulged secrets gradually, akin to a master storyteller, understanding the importance of pacing, of allowing narratives to unfold organically. Some chambers harbored secrets for months ere revealing them, while others shared their tales eagerly, akin to children sharing beloved books. With time, I realized the house didn't merely recount its past, it wove new memories, incorporating my tale into its tapestry. Quiet evenings in the library, morning coffee rituals in the kitchen, gardening ventures in the backyard, all intertwined with the house's essence, merging into its perpetual narrative. I pondered future inhabitants. Would they perceive the voices I heard? Would the house relay my tale to them as it had shared others with me? The notion was comforting, the assurance that a fragment of my time here would linger, enshrined in the walls' whispers and floorboards' creaks. The house persisted in its gentle communiques, unveiling fresh discoveries and profound cognizance each day. Walls never ceased their dialogue. They awaited listeners attuned to their discourse. Amidst the wordless interludes, amidst the tranquil silence akin to soft snowfall, I sensed myself becoming part of something grander. A living history, an ongoing saga, a domicile transcending mere wood and stone. Even now, as I inscribe this by lamplight, I feel the house enfolding me, its walls humming with untold chronicles. The silver vines in the wallpaper catch the light, seemingly winking, acknowledging our shared confidences. Beyond, the rain's gentle cadence continues, harmonizing with the house's eternal symphony. Somewhere in the recesses of these articulate walls, this moment too shall endure, another strand in the tapestry of narrative shaping this abode, not solely as a dwelling, but as a preserver of memories, a narrator of tales, a custodian of all the tranquil instants composing a life. Story 2. The soft patter of rain against the window panes filled the ancient house with a soothing melody as I settled into my recently inherited abode. The wooden floorboards murmured beneath my steps, sharing tales of bygone eras. My grandmother's dwelling had always exuded an air of enigma, but now, as its new owner, I found myself unraveling its enigmas one by one. On a particular evening, while the autumn breeze whispered through the dwindling leaves outside, I observed something peculiar about the staircase. The warm light of my reading lamp cast dancing shadows on the wallpaper, unveiling an unusual pattern in the grain of the wooden paneling. Running my fingers along its surface, I detected a subtle difference in texture, barely noticeable yet undeniably present. The house groaned and settled as I delved into this anomaly, my fingertips tracing what seemed to be the outline of a hidden door. Anticipation thickened the air, carrying the faint aroma of old books and furniture polish that had always defined my grandmother's home. Upon pressing different sections of the panel, a soft click resonated through the hushed hallway. The concealed door swung open smoothly, revealing a narrow passage descending beneath the stairs. The air that drifted up was cool, carrying an unfamiliar fragrance, reminiscent of dried flowers mingled with the earthy scent of an ancient cellar. My heart thudded steadily in my chest as I fetched a flashlight from the kitchen drawer, its beam piercing the darkness below. The stairs leading down were sturdy, each step crafted from the same rich wood as the main staircase above. The walls were adorned with peculiar wallpaper, its design subtly shifting in the flashlight's glow. Descending further, the sound of rain faded into the distance, replaced by the gentle echo of my breath and the soft creak of wood underfoot. At the bottom, I found myself in a small chamber that defied explanation. The space appeared frozen in time, existing in a bubble separate from the rest of the house. A writing desk stood against one wall, covered in yellowed sheets of paper inscribed with my grandmother's graceful handwriting. Beside it, an inviting armchair awaited, adorned with a knitted blanket. The walls displayed framed photographs unfamiliar to me, depicting individuals and locales that felt both known and alien. In one image, my grandmother stood beside a tall, shadowed figure, both smiling at something unseen. Another portrayed a garden I could not place, where flowers bloomed in hues beyond nature's palette. On the desk, an open journal beckoned, its pages recounting events shrouded in mystery. My grandmother chronicled visits on moonlit nights, conversations lasting until dawn, and secrets exchanged in hushed tones. The ink seemed to shimmer as I perused, the words carrying a warmth beneath my touch. A small music box rested beside the journal, its surface etched with intricate patterns that seemed to shift when viewed askance. Lifting its lid, a haunting melody filled the chamber, unlike any tune I had heard before. The notes lingered in the air, expanding the room beyond its physical bounds. Time warped in that hidden space beneath the stairs. Minutes stretched into hours as I examined each object with meticulous care. Every item bore a tale, a memory, or a hidden truth. Rows of tiny bottles adorned a shelf, each containing what seemed like liquid stardust. A mirror on the wall reflected a room similar, yet subtly different from the one I occupied. Enveloped in my grandmother's knitted blanket while seated in the armchair, I began to grasp the room's essence. It was not merely a concealed chamber, but a threshold, a place where the ordinary mingled with the extraordinary. The music box's melody continued, lulling me into a state between wakefulness and dreams. In this twilight realm, I almost discerned my grandmother's soft voice, narrating untold stories she had kept in silence. She spoke of midnight gatherings and gentle enchantments, of friendships transcending time and space's confines. Her words flowed like a stream, drawing me deeper into comprehension. Outside, the rain's cadence transformed into a lullaby, and the air shimmered with specks of light, perhaps dust, perhaps something more ethereal. Each breath brimmed with potential, with the promise of marvels. As drowsiness weighed upon me, I spied a letter addressed to me on the desk, unnoticed before. My grandmother's script adorned the envelope in silver ink that glistened like dew. The paper felt alive in my grasp, pulsing with unspoken truths. Though I opened the envelope, I refrained from reading its contents. An intuition whispered that certain enigmas unveil themselves only when we are prepared to grasp them. Placing the letter back on the desk, I surveyed the room one final time. The photographs seemed to shift, revealing altered scenes beyond certainty. The music box's melody faded to silence. Ascending the stairs to the main house, I sensed a subtle yet profound change within me. Closing the hidden door behind me, I observed it seamlessly melding into the paneling. The rain had ceased, replaced by moonlight casting silver patterns across the floor. The house now brimmed with newfound potential, alive with undiscovered wonders. That night, as slumber beckoned me in my upstairs chamber, the scent of dried flowers and aged paper from the secret room lingered in my dreams. In that nocturnal realm, my grandmother's smile illuminated an impossible garden, urging me towards gentle mysteries awaiting revelation. The hidden chamber beneath the stairs evolved into my sanctuary, a haven to retreat to when the world above grew clamorous or mundane. Sometimes I perused the journal while seated in the armchair. Other times I listened to the music box's ethereal melody. Each visit unraveled fresh details, new enigmas, deeper understanding. Yet certain questions lingered unanswered, suspended like unfinished tales. Who was the shadowed figure in the photograph? What secrets did the shimmering bottles conceal? And what messages lay dormant in the unopened letter? Perhaps, akin to my grandmother, I would comprehend that some mysteries are meant to endure, guiding us gently towards wonder without fully unveiling their truths. Story 3. The autumn breeze whispered through the time-worn trees, carrying with it the soft rustle of fallen leaves and the faint aroma of wood smoke. Standing before the aged oak door of my grandmother's manor, I observed tendrils of mist curling around my feet in the dwindling twilight. The brass doorknob, once gleaming, now bore a rich patina from years gone by, silently narrating tales of countless hands that had turned it before mine. My grandmother had departed this world 3 months prior, bequeathing me this sprawling Victorian estate with its labyrinthine rooms and corridors. As the sole inheritor, I had postponed my arrival, allowing the property to rest undisturbed while I processed my sorrow. Yet now, as I inserted the ancient key into the lock, a mysterious force tugged at me, as if the house itself had been yearning for my presence. The mechanism clicked deeply, resonating through the vacant passageways beyond. The door swung open smoothly, almost noiselessly, despite its age. The foyer enveloped me in the familiar scent of old wood, leather-bound books, and the lingering fragrance of my grandmother's lavender sachets. Dust particles danced in the fading sunlight streaming through the tall windows, creating enchanting patterns in the tranquil air. Moving through the house with deliberate steps, my footfalls were hushed by the plush Persian carpets lining the floors. The furniture stood cloaked in white sheets, like silent guardians preserving memories of happier days. Upon reaching the grand staircase, my hand traced the smooth mahogany banister, evoking faint echoes of childhood laughter as I recalled sliding down it during summer visits. The second floor housed the library, my grandmother's sanctuary. Here, myriad books adorned floor-to-ceiling shelves, their leather spines weaving a tapestry of muted hues in the dimming light. I had whiled away countless hours in this room as a child, nestled in the window seat, while my grandmother delved into ancient tomes of folklore and enigma. As twilight descended into dusk, I kindled the old oil lamps my grandmother had always favored over electric lights. Their warm radiance cast pools of gentle light, casting soft shadows that seemed to breathe with the subtle drafts meandering through the house. The familiar ritual brought solace, yet as I illuminated the final lamp in the library, something captured my attention. The door to my grandmother's private study, perpetually locked during my childhood visits, stood slightly ajar. Intrigued by both curiosity and a strange sense of inevitability, I approached cautiously. The door, solid oak like the entrance, bore intricate carvings of intertwining vines and flowers. Pushing it open emitted a low, melodious tone from the hinges, akin to a distant bell. The study appeared exactly as I had glimpsed it in my youth. Walls adorned with peculiar artifacts, shelves lined with bottles of colored glass, and a colossal desk dominated by a leather-bound journal. Yet an intangible tension permeated the air, as if the room held its breath in anticipation. Drawn to the desk, I found myself captivated by the journal open before me, its pages inscribed with my grandmother's elegant script. As I perused the words, they seemed to shimmer in the lamplight. My beloved grandchild, should you be reading these words, you have finally discovered your way to my study. There are truths about our family, about this abode, that you must comprehend. The door you have traversed conceals more than meets the eye. Like many phenomena in this realm, it exists in multiple dimensions, leading to paths few have trodden. A distant door closing within the house diverted my attention. Upon glancing back towards the study entrance, I was met with a solid wall. The door had vanished entirely, leaving only a faint outline in the wallpaper, akin to a fading dream. Returning to the journal, my heart pulsated steadily as I continued reading. My grandmother's words spoke of gateways between worlds, of a familial heritage of safeguarding these thresholds, and of the legacy now entrusted to me. Each page unveiled further mysteries, yet I harbored no fear, only a profound sense of awe and recognition, as if I had always known this truth lay just beneath the veneer of my mundane existence. Hours ebbed away as I immersed myself in the journal, the oil lamps burning low. Upon lifting my gaze, I beheld something extraordinary. The wall where the door had stood now bore faint outlines, not of one but many doors, each adorned with unique carvings, each offering paths to enigmatic destinations. They materialized and dissipated like the northern lights, a subtle ballet of possibilities. The final page of the journal conveyed a simple message: the doors shall manifest when you are prepared. They respond to necessity, not longing. Your heart shall discern which to open and when. Trust in the wisdom coursing through your veins, as I have entrusted you with this legacy. Softly shutting the journal, the weight of its revelations enveloped me like a comforting embrace. The room had dimmed, yet I discerned the ghostly silhouettes of doors shimmering on the walls. Outside, the wind intensified, its whispers reminiscent of distant murmurs. Seated in my grandmother's chair, I observed the interplay of lamplight on the walls, comprehending that my life had irrevocably altered. However, no urgency to act pervaded, no compulsion to traverse any of those enigmatic thresholds that night. Like the house itself, these secrets had patiently awaited my return, and would continue to do so until the opportune moment arrived. I lingered in the study until dawn, attuned to the gentle creaking of the ancient abode, feeling more at peace than I had in years. The doors materialized and dissolved with the shadows, a subtle reminder of the magic ingrained in my lineage. My grandmother's essence seemed to linger in every corner, not as a specter, but as a comforting presence, reassuring me that I was precisely where I belonged. When morning finally broke, casting soft light through the study windows, the wall once again exhibited a solitary, solid door, the one through which I had entered. Yet now, I comprehended what lay beyond the carved wood and brass handle. This was not merely a portal to a chamber, but a threshold to a new phase in my journey, replete with boundless possibilities and ancient enigmas awaiting exploration. Departing the study that morning, transformed yet serene, the house no longer felt desolate, but pulsated with potential and purpose. Every door I passed held new significance, each threshold a reminder of the extraordinary heritage I had inherited. The mystery was not a riddle to be solved, but a gift to be gradually unveiled, one door at a time, in its own divine moment. Story 4. The ancient wooden gate always stood stoically at the edge of my grandmother's garden, a sentinel weathered by time yet exuding a captivating charm. Its panels of dark oak bore the delicate imprints of raindrops in years gone by, forming intricate designs that seemed to ebb and flow with the shifting light. But what truly set this gate apart was not its weathered appearance. It was what lay beyond, or rather, what did not. Behind the gate, there existed not emptiness nor darkness, but a soft, swirling fog that clung to the air like a veil of mystery. This ethereal mist, tinted in hues of pearl and silver, never dissipated, defying the laws of nature and reason. My grandmother never broached the subject, yet I often caught her stealing glances towards the gate while tending to her cherished roses, a subtle smile dancing at the corners of her lips. Upon her passing, the house and its enigmatic gateway became mine, a legacy of memories and unanswered questions. The garden transformed into my sanctuary, a realm where time seemed to meander at its own leisurely pace. The fragrant lavender beds she had lovingly planted released their calming scent into the twilight air, intertwining with the earthy aroma of moss-covered stones that lined the meandering path leading to the gate. Each evening, as dusk draped the garden in a velvety hush, I would settle on the weathered iron bench nearby, enveloped by the symphony of chirping crickets, and gaze at the fog beyond the gate. Under the watchful eye of the moon, I fancied glimpsing elusive shapes moving within the mysterious mist, fluid, indiscernible forms that pirouetted just beyond recognition's grasp. The gate itself remained steadfastly closed, its ancient iron latch untouched by rust, despite the passage of time. On quiet nights, a soft hum drifted from the fog's depths, a melodic whisper that flirted with the boundaries of perception, like a lullaby woven from the threads of silence. One autumn twilight, as the sun painted the sky in hues of amber and rose, a subtle shift occurred. The air grew heavy with the scent of petrichor, though no storm clouds loomed in the azure expanse above. The fog behind the gate pulsed gently, akin to the rhythmic breath of a slumbering giant. From my usual spot on the bench, I observed as golden specks of light danced within the mist, swirling in languid patterns that seemed to beckon me closer. That night, the humming intensified, transforming into what resembled distant whispers, their ethereal cadence tinged with nostalgia, wonder, and a silent invitation. In a dusty drawer of her writing desk, I stumbled upon my grandmother's journal, a cryptic chronicle of the gate written in riddles and metaphors. She spoke of doorways between moments and the space where memories dream. Her elegant script filled pages with observations on the fog's shifting nature and its correlation with the lunar phases. Over time, subtle alterations unfolded. Objects left near the gate would subtly rearrange overnight, while the roses closest to it bloomed in hues of celestial blue and silver, emanating a faint luminescence in the twilight. Occasionally, I discovered unfamiliar trinkets resting against the gate's base, warm, smooth stones, feathers in iridescent shades, and once a silent bell that defied sound when shaken. The local felines seemed attuned to the gate's enigma, often congregating nearby at dusk, their unwavering gazes fixed on the swirling mist. At times, they reacted to unseen movements, their heads swiveling synchronously to track invisible passages through the fog. Winter descended, cloaking the garden in frost and icy winds, Yet the area encircling the gate remained untouched by the season's chill, preserving an eternal autumnal oasis. The fog continued its mesmerizing dance, now interwoven with shimmering spirals of light resembling suspended snowflakes. In my dreams, whispers of what lay beyond the gate tiptoed into my consciousness, not harbingers of nightmares, but gentle inklings of boundless possibilities. Gardens where the laws of physics wavered, libraries where tales inscribed themselves on airborne pages, meadows where grass chimed like tiny bells in the caress of passing zephyrs. In her final entries, my grandmother's journal detailed prophecies of the fog's patterns predicting shifts in the world beyond, of nights when the boundary between realms blurred to near transparency. The closing passage, scribed mere days before her departure, bore a cryptic line. The gate doesn't lead to nowhere, it leads to everywhere, but only for those who comprehend that nowhere and everywhere are one and the same. Now as I sit amidst the garden's nocturnal embrace, observing the mist's mesmerizing ballet, I ponder if I am beginning to grasp her cryptic wisdom. The gate transcends mere curiosity, evolving into a beacon of tranquility, a testament that mysteries need not be unraveled to hold significance. The unknown emerges as a gentle ally rather than a harbinger of dread. In the quiet interludes between twilight and true night, when the garden holds its breath and time suspends its march, I sense the gate's enigma on the cusp of revelation. It murmurs in the pauses between heartbeats, in the lulls between thoughts, in the threshold between dreams and wakefulness. The gate leading to nowhere might just guide each wanderer to precisely where their essence yearns to tread. Not a physical destination, but a mental state where enigma and serenity coalesce in perfect harmony. Thus I continue my evening vigils, serenaded by the cricket's chorus and the gentle sway of my grandmother's roses. The fog's secrets remain veiled, yet its tranquility embraces all who sit quietly enough to receive its benediction. Perhaps therein lies the ultimate enigma. How a path to nowhere can resonate so profoundly with the essence of belonging. Story 5. The gentle murmur of waves caressing ancient stones enveloped the twilight as I wandered along the coastal path. The moon hung low, a radiant orb casting its silver glow upon the boundless expanse of water that stretched endlessly toward the distant horizon. Each step I took on the gravel path echoed softly, a deliberate rhythm in tune with the mysterious allure of the legendary cliff that beckoned me to this secluded shore. Local folklore whispered of peculiar occurrences on nights like this, when the moon reigned supreme, ethereal shadows pirouetting through the mist, their movements enchanting yet tinged with a hint of melancholy. Initially dismissing these tales as mere superstition, my curiosity was piqued by the unwavering consistency of the reports after months of meticulous research and first-hand accounts. The air grew cooler as I drew closer to the cliff, carrying with it the briny essence of seaweed, mingled with an elusive, ancient aroma that lingered in the breeze, stirring memories long forgotten. The path narrowed, guiding me with a gentle urgency as my hand grazed the damp cliff wall, tracing the marks of time and tide etched into its rugged surface. A symphony of nature unfolded around me, the waves' melodic cadence harmonizing with the hollow whistles of the wind as it weaved through the weathered rock formations. The sounds melded into a hypnotic chorus, blurring the boundaries between reality and reverie, drawing me deeper into the enigmatic embrace of the night. Turning the final bend, the cliff's silhouette emerged before me, revealing ancient stone steps leading down to a natural platform that extended over the tumultuous waters below. Bathed in the moon's silvery embrace, shadows danced in profound depths of blue, their significance elusive yet palpable. Setting up my equipment methodically, I documented the unusual atmospheric conditions, the chill in the air, the heavy humidity, the capricious wind patterns. But it was the electromagnetic field detector that hinted at something extraordinary unfolding. Its needles swayed in a mesmerizing cadence, echoing a heartbeat lost in time. As darkness deepened, the mist defied conventional logic, coalescing into graceful forms that waltzed at the edge of perception. Initially attributing it to optical illusions, I soon realized the shadows possessed a life of their own, moving with purpose and grace, weaving an intricate ballet of ancient tales within the veils of mist. The scientific instruments faltered, their readings nonsensical as the shadows' dance grew more defined, more poignant in its storytelling. Joy and sorrow intertwined in their movements, painting a tapestry of love and loss that transcended generations, whispered by the winds and waves that bore witness. Time lost its grip as I stood transfixed, enveloped in a serene tranquility despite the surreal spectacle before me. A haunting melody rose from the depths, a symphony of the unseen, a blend of whale song, wind through ancient stones, and an essence ethereal and otherworldly. With the approach of dawn, the shadows' movements slowed, their dance becoming a solemn ritual as the mist dispersed, carrying with it the echoes of mysterious music. As daylight kissed the cliff face, the shadows dissolved, leaving only the echoes of the sea's lullaby and the cries of seabirds in their wake. Reviewing my malfunctioning equipment, I discovered no tangible evidence of the night's events, only ordinary recordings of fog and light. Yet etched into the stone where the shadows had danced, ancient patterns remained, a silent testament to the mysteries witnessed. Returning to the cliff, I now visit not solely on moonlit nights, sometimes with equipment in hand, striving to capture the elusive phenomena that unfold. More often, I come to witness the shadow's eternal ballet, to embrace the tranquility that pervades this sacred space. I've learned that some mysteries defy explanation, residing in the enigmatic realm between science and experience. The shadows continue their dance, their stories woven into the tapestry of the night, inviting those who seek to listen, to watch, and to feel the ancient whispers carried on the breeze. The cliff guards its secrets, revealing them only to those who sit in quiet contemplation, allowing the shadows to dance their eternal ballet beneath the watchful gaze of the moon, serenaded by the timeless symphony of the waves. Story 6. The autumn breeze murmured through the trees, carrying a symphony of fallen leaves and the distant whispers of wood smoke. Before me stood an ancient iron gate, its black coat peeling away to expose layers of rust, like memories etched into time-worn armor. The metal bars twisted into intricate patterns that seemed to swirl and transform whenever my gaze shifted, a dance of shadows in the waning light. This gate had revealed itself to me on one of my twilight strolls, as the encroaching darkness led me down uncharted paths. The road beyond meandering into a dense forest, vanishing around a gentle bend embraced by majestic oaks forming a natural archway. Something about that curve beckoned me, a silent call drawing me closer like a whispered secret. The gate's hinges sighed softly in the breeze, a sound reminiscent of my grandmother's rocking chair on tranquil Sunday afternoons. Though comforting, the memory felt out of place in this mysterious setting. A delicate mist began to rise from the earth, curling around my feet like a curious cat seeking attention. I extended my hand to touch the gate, the cool metal sending a subtle shiver through my fingertips. Surprisingly, the latch yielded easily under my touch, as if recently anointed despite its weathered facade. With a low, melodic note, the gate swung open, its song lingering in the air longer than expected. The path ahead was blanketed in a tapestry of amber and burgundy leaves that scarcely rustled as I ventured forth, as if they too revered the profound silence of this realm. The air grew chillier as I crossed the threshold, carrying an unfamiliar sweetness reminiscent of honey and ancient manuscripts. As I treaded further, I noticed subtle anomalies that eluded explanation. Shadows cast by the trees played tricks, pointing in unexpected angles, while birds fluttered through the branches in slow motion, as if suspended in time. The bend in the road seemed endless, leading me on a journey that felt timeless, the light frozen in a perpetual dusk where day and night converged seamlessly. My watch had ceased its ticking, hands frozen at 6:47, the moment of suspension adding to the enigmatic allure of the surroundings. In the woods, glimpses of movement caught my eye, not fleeting wildlife, but deliberate scenes unfolding like a dream just beyond my reach. A table set for tea bathed in ethereal sunlight, a child's bedroom with an invitingly turned-down bed. The mist thickened, yet instead of obscuring my vision, it sharpened my senses, revealing a world of crystalline clarity. Colors intensified, textures sharpened, nature's details magnified as if through a crystal lens. A haunting melody began to permeate the air. A lullaby played on an unknown instrument, its notes drifting like autumn leaves on a gentle breeze. The tune felt familiar, resonating deep within though unfamiliar to my ears. The path widened, unveiling a small clearing where a weathered wooden bench sat beneath an ancient oak. The bench appeared both freshly crafted and ancient, untouched by the passage of time. An open book rested on its surface, pages fluttering imperceptibly as if stirred by an unseen hand. Drawn to the book, I noticed my hand acquiring a translucent quality, merging with the mist enveloping me. Rather than fear, a profound tranquility washed over me as the music swelled, weaving words into its ethereal tapestry. They spoke of homes and hearts, of realms existing between fleeting moments. Seating myself on the bench, the transparency spread from my hands to my arms, my form blending with the mist. The trees swayed in rhythm with the unseen melody, their branches painting patterns against the unchanging twilight sky. Time lost its meaning in this place, or perhaps time ceased to exist at all. I lingered on the bench as the mist thickened, transforming the world into a canvas of watercolors. The book beside me began to emit a gentle glow, its blank pages now containing the essence of all stories told and untold. In the distance, fellow travelers, as misty as I had become, traversed the path, nodding in silent acknowledgement as they passed. Some joined me on the bench briefly, leaving imprints in the mist that lingered long after their departure. The gate stood sentinel at the path's beginning, its rusty bars engaged in a timeless waltz with eternity. New wanderers may chance upon it, drawn by the same inexplicable allure that beckoned me. I remain here, neither wholly present nor absent, witnessing the eternal twilight painting enchanting scenes in the mist. The music plays on, the trees dance in harmony, and somewhere, a gate creaks gently in a breeze, tinged with the essence of honey and ancient texts. In this haven where mystery intertwines with serenity, the boundary between reality and fiction blurs like rain-washed watercolors. Should you encounter an aged iron gate, its paint weathered to reveal rust beneath, know that the path beyond harbors more than a mere bend in the road. Listen for the music woven in the mist and cherish the enigmatic beauty that surrounds you. Embrace the mysteries that are not meant to be unraveled but lived within, where tranquility and wonder coexist in a fragile dance. Story 7. The soft, gentle patter of autumn rain caressed my window, creating a tranquil symphony as I delved into the depths of an ancient wooden chest passed down to me by my grandmother. The air was thick with the scent of old paper and weathered leather, mingling harmoniously with the delicate fragrance of chamomile tea brewing nearby. My fingers danced over the intricate carvings adorning the chest, each groove whispering a tale of time's subtle handiwork. Nestled among the treasures within, faded photographs frozen in time, fragile lace handkerchiefs, and letters adorned with silk ribbons, I stumbled upon a peculiar leather-bound book. Its cover bore no markings, only the faint impressions left by countless hands tracing its surface. As I cracked open the spine, a soft, barely audible sound accompanied the rain's whispered song outside. To my surprise, every page appeared blank, not in the pristine white of new paper, but in a weathered cream hue that spoke of years long past. The paper felt unusually thick, as if it held secrets woven into its very fibers. The corners, softened by age, hinted at the touch of someone who had spent countless hours with this seemingly empty diary. In the warm glow of my reading lamp, a curious discovery awaited. When the pages caught the light just so, faint traces of writing seemed to dance across the paper, elusive and ever-changing. Intrigued, I found myself drawn deeper into the mystery, my breath sinking with the steady cadence of the rain outside. My grandmother had never mentioned this diary, though she was a keeper of tales untold. Memories flooded my mind of her sitting in her cherished armchair, regaling me with stories of yore, her eyes gleaming with a hint of mischief. Could this book be a piece of those unspoken narratives? As night descended, a subtle metamorphosis unfolded before me. Under different light sources, new revelations emerged. Soft lamplight revealed pressed flowers delicately preserved between the pages, their faded imprints barely visible. By the moonlit window, rain-streaked glass casting a spectral glow, intricate patterns materialized, perhaps handwriting, perhaps drawings. With each passing moment spent unraveling the diary's enigma, my surroundings seemed to shift imperceptibly. The rain whispered secrets just beyond comprehension. Shadows in the room cavorted with fleeting shapes that vanished upon scrutiny. The very air crackled with a gentle energy, akin to the hush before a summer storm. In the liminal realm between wakefulness and slumber, phantom words seemed to materialize on the pages, flowing like a gentle stream before dissipating when I focused too intently. The diary pulsed with its own rhythm, a silent heartbeat echoing in my hands. One serene evening, as I cradled the diary, I noticed a subtle shift in the room's temperature. Not discomforting, but rather akin to stepping into a cherished memory, the warmth of my grandmother's kitchen on baking days, the cool embrace of her spring garden. Fragments of scents long forgotten wafted through the air, vanilla, lavender, the essence of old books. At times, my grandmother's voice, clear as a bell, echoed in the room, though her words remained just out of reach. The echoes faded like morning mist, leaving behind an inexplicable sense of solace and understanding. I observed that certain pages mirrored the passage of time, pearlescent with dawn's light, golden as sunset's embrace, speckled with starlight under the midnight moon. In the weeks that followed, a nightly ritual unfolded as I sat with the diary, allowing its mysteries to unfurl at their leisure. Sometimes I merely held it, the weight of its untold tales grounding me. Other times, I turned its pages with care, noting how the texture shifted with the weather, crisp on dry days, soft when rain painted the world. The diary never divulged its secrets outright, yet I came to realize that its blank canvas held a tapestry woven from something beyond words. Memories, emotions, moments crystallized in time, visible only to those who dared to look deeper. Changes stirred within me. Dreams painted vivid landscapes unknown to me. Fragments of my grandmother's stories resurfacing as if coaxed from slumber by the diary's touch. On tranquil nights, shadows danced at the edge of my vision, unseen pages fluttering in the corner of my eye, ephemeral letters teasing before fading back into the darkness. These moments bore no fear, only the warmth of a beloved tale retold. Even now, the diary rests by my bedside, a steadfast companion exuding a quiet reassurance, a heartbeat in the silence of night. Before slumber claims me, I lay a gentle hand upon its cover, feeling a faint warmth, a whispered response to my touch. Perhaps some stories are not meant to be read conventionally, but to be felt in the spaces between words, in the breaths between heartbeats. The rain serenades outside my window, its melody intertwining with whispered tales, spinning a narrative that straddles the realms of sleep and wakefulness, memory and dream. The diary lingers, its blank pages pregnant with stories that transcend the written word, patient for those who grasp that some tales are meant to be sensed rather than read. Story 8. The gentle patter of rain against my bedroom window set a soothing tempo that evening. each droplet a note in the symphony of the night. My vintage reading lamp cast a soft amber light on the pages of my book, painting dancing shadows on the walls of my ancient home. The wooden floor beneath my feet retained the warmth of the day, its familiar creaks a comforting backdrop to my movements, like whispered confidences shared between old friends. These tranquil moments always brought me solace, as the outside world seemed to fade into a gentle murmur. The house settled into its nightly routine, familiar sounds blending seamlessly, the gentle tick of the grandfather clock, the occasional whisper of wind through the eaves, and the distant call of a nocturnal bird seeking refuge from the rain. But on this particular evening, a subtle shift in the air hinted at something different. Initially barely discernible, like catching the scent of a flower on a passing breeze, the atmosphere grew heavier, tinged with a quiet electricity that made the hairs on my arms prickle. Shadows in the corners of my room deepened, taking on a weight and presence I had never felt before. Using an old photograph as a bookmark, a sepia-toned image of the house with a family long gone standing proudly on the front steps, I paused to study it. In the lamplight's glow, hidden details emerged, including a faint figure in an upper window, almost transparent like a whisper of the past. Then a sound, faint yet deliberate, caught my attention. Not quite a whisper, nor a clear word, but a ghostly echo of a voice, as if carried on a breeze from the next room, my study, where my collection of aged books and family portraits resided. The sound, reminiscent of pages turning and paper shuffling, carried a musical quality, hinting at purpose and patience. Rising from my chair, I felt the wooden floor shift beneath me, its creaks now harmonizing with the enigmatic sounds emanating from the study. The hallway plunged in darkness, save for the spill of light from my room and occasional flashes of lightning in the distance. As my hand rested on the brass handle of the study door, cool and smooth, I noticed intricate patterns in the metal that seemed to form ancient symbols, vanishing when I tried to focus on them. The whisper persisted, growing clearer through the thick oak of the door, evoking memories of summer warmth and autumnal crispness, overlaid with a hint of sunlight filtering through dust motes in an attic. Standing there, I let the sound envelop me, a gentle tide lapping at a distant shore. Upon opening the door, the study appeared unchanged, yet fundamentally altered. Leather-bound books lined the shelves, their spines catching stray light. The wooden desk, usually cluttered, now held only a single sheet of paper I did not remember placing there. The rain continued its rhythmic drumming on the windows, assuming a pattern akin to nature's own Morse code. The study air carried the scent of aged paper and leather, mingled with a ghostly perfume, reminiscent of pressed flowers found in forgotten tomes. Approaching the desk, the whisper faded, growing distant, like a radio signal losing strength. The blank sheet bore faint impressions of words, as though someone had written on another page while this one lay beneath. Settling into my worn leather chair, the whisper waned to a mere echo, yet the room retained its atmospheric weight, a sensation of something just beyond the threshold of perception, like a word on the edge of recall or a face glimpsed in a crowd. The rain's melody softened, lulling me into reclining, entranced by the interplay of light and shadow on the walls. The books seemed to breathe in unison, their bindings expanding and contracting with the night's humidity. Time flowed seamlessly, hours melding into minutes as fluidly as the shadows overhead. The whisper never returned in its original form, but in the pauses between raindrops or breaths, I sensed a lingering presence, not words, but the essence of words, like an echo of a conversation just ended. As dawn approached, the rain subsided, leaving a world refreshed and new. Morning light filtered into the study, dispelling the mysteries and restoring normalcy to the room. Yet a subtle shift had occurred, a slight deviation in the fabric of reality, akin to a clock ticking a fraction slower, or a mirror reflecting a moment delayed. The whisper never revisited me in quite the same way, but late at night, surrounded by books and memories, I occasionally felt it, a static charge in the air, a reminder of something vital lingering just beyond reach. Perhaps the whisper sought not to reveal, but to jog a forgotten memory, an essential truth dormant between heartbeats and the silence between words. The enigma remained, like a faint fingerprint on an old window or the lingering fragrance of rain in the breeze. And perhaps therein lies the beauty. Some mysteries are meant to endure, some whispers destined to hover at the edge of perception, urging us to explore the hidden wonders in the quiet interludes between one breath and the next. Story 9. The autumn wind whispered tales of forgotten days as I strolled down the narrow path leading to my grandmother's secluded cottage. The ancient trees stood sentinel, their branches swaying in a hypnotic dance under the evening sky. Each step I took stirred the fallen leaves, creating a soothing rhythm that harmonized with my quiet breaths. It had been 3 months since I inherited the cottage, yet this visit felt like a return to a distant past. Memories flooded back as the familiar scents of pine and moss enveloped me, reminding me of carefree days spent exploring the woods with my grandmother. She would regale me with stories of the land's hidden wonders, of how the earth itself seemed to exhale in certain places during the hushed hours of midnight to dawn. As a child, I dismissed these tales as mere fantasies spun to enchant young minds. But nearing the cottage's weathered door, a subtle vibration beneath my feet halted my steps. It was a barely perceptible movement, akin to the gentle rise and fall of a slumbering creature's chest. Unlocking the door, I was met with a wave of nostalgia as I beheld the interior unchanged. Draped furniture, a silent grandfather clock, and dancing dust particles in the soft light filtering through lace curtains. The afternoon was spent in cleansing, unveiling forgotten corners, and inviting in the crisp air through opened windows. The physical labor eased my mind, though a lingering sensation of the ground's occasional tremors persisted, as if a dormant force stirred deep below. Come evening, I settled into my grandmother's favorite chair with a cup of chamomile tea, the warmth of the mug comforting my hands. The house creaked softly, its breath echoing the slow, steady rhythm of life. In the dimming light, shadows stretched like silken tendrils across the wooden floor, reaching out as if in silent invitation. That night, under the silver gaze of the moon, I lay in my grandmother's bed, the tranquility broken only by the distant hoot of an owl and the rustling leaves. As sleep beckoned, the subtle movement beneath the house returned, more palpable this time. A deep, resonant hum pulsed through the earth, a primal sound that reverberated within me. Rising from bed, I followed the rhythmic hum downstairs, guided by an inexplicable urge. The cellar door, slightly ajar, beckoned me with a cool breath carrying ancient scents. Descending the alive stone steps, I found a small door hidden in the earth, untouched by time, its carved symbols pulsing with energy. The breath of the earth, my grandmother's stories whispered, spoke of ancient chambers where primordial powers slumbered, shaping the world above. That night, I chose not to open the door, instead returning to bed, letting the earth's gentle breathing lull me into a dream-filled slumber. The memory of the vibrations lingered, a haunting melody in my mind. Days turned into nights, revealing a pattern in the earth's breath, strongest under the full moon and dancing auroras, accompanied by whispers of ancient tongues rising through the floorboards. The secret remained mine alone, a truth meant to be felt rather than explained. Like my grandmother, I found solace in the earth's eternal rhythm, a lullaby of mysteries too profound for words. Time passed, yet the earth's breath remained, a constant presence beneath the cottage. On quiet evenings I sat, tea in hand, listening to the ancient hum from below, pondering the door in the cellar and the enigmas it held. Some questions are best left unanswered, hidden in the spaces between heartbeats. And on nights of full moons and whispered winds, I swear I hear my grandmother's voice in the earth's song, a reminder that magic lies not in unraveling mysteries, but in embracing them, in sync with the timeless pulse of the world. Story 10. The gentle rhythm of raindrops tapping against my bedroom window had become my nightly serenade, lulling me into a peaceful slumber. On this particular evening, the rain cascaded down in a soothing pattern, casting shimmering reflections of my reading lamp across the puddles outside. Snug in my favorite blanket, I found solace in the quietude, feeling the outside world fade away into the veiled darkness beyond the glass. Amidst this tranquil routine, a peculiar sight captured my attention. A soft, otherworldly glow emanating from the direction of the ancient lake behind my home. Initially brushing it off as a play of moonlight, there was a quality to these lights that stirred a subtle shift within me, slowing the rhythm of my heart as if attuning itself to their gentle pulsations. The lights danced upon the lake's surface with a graceful elegance, forming patterns reminiscent of fireflies in a dreamlike slow motion. From my window perch, I observed their mesmerizing display, the lights casting enchanting reflections upon the water, doubling their captivating allure. The rain continued its gentle percussion, a melodic backdrop to this ethereal spectacle. Unable to resist the beckoning call of curiosity, I draped my coziest sweater around my shoulders and descended the creaking wooden stairs to the back door. Each deliberate step down felt like traversing through a dream, the cool touch of the brass doorknob releasing a breath of rain-kissed air into the room. The path leading to the lake was flanked by ancient pine trees, swaying in harmony with the evening breeze. The rain had transformed into a misty veil that caressed my skin like dewdrops, guiding me towards the water's edge. Approaching closer, the lights came into sharper focus, tennis ball-sized orbs emitting a soft, pulsating glow in hues of azure and emerald. Hovering just above the water, they created gentle ripples upon contact, exuding a subtle energy that electrified the air around me. It was not a sensation of fear, but rather a warm embrace, akin to wading through a stream of balmy air on a cool night. The lights seemed to acknowledge my presence, drifting closer to the shore where I stood, their movements imbued with a curious grace. As I observed, intricate formations emerged, resembling celestial constellations suspended above the water's surface. At times they would merge, blending their lights into a radiant glow before dispersing back into individual points of luminescence. A soft humming infused the air, a melodious undertone harmonizing with the light's choreography, evoking a sense of ancient wonder. The rain continued its delicate descent, casting a glistening curtain through which the lights swirled and pirouetted. The scent of damp earth and pine enveloped me, grounding my senses in the surreal moment unfolding before me. A new pattern emerged as the lights began a slow rotation, forming a circular gateway on the lake's surface, hinting at a mysterious realm beyond. The water's reflection mirrored their movements, creating a ring of light that seemed to penetrate the veil of night itself. The humming intensified, resonating within my chest, urging me to draw closer to the water's edge. One of the lights detached from the circle, drifting towards me and hovering at eye level, revealing a cosmic dance within its gentle glow. Mesmerized, I felt a profound tranquility wash over me, questions swirling in my mind like leaves in an autumn breeze. Were these lights sentient beings, guardians of this mystical realm, or mere phantoms of the night awaiting a curious observer? The night air grew cooler, prompting me to tighten my sweater around me as the solitary light rejoined its companions in their hypnotic ballet. Their movements slowed, echoing the late hour, the humming softening to a mere whisper, blending with the rain's symphony. Though aware of the need to return indoors, an invisible force anchored me to that spot, transfixed by the light's enchanting performance. A story unfolded before me, etched in the language of light and motion. its essence elusive yet captivating. Like grasping at fragments of a fading dream, the more I sought comprehension, the more enigmatic the narrative became. Fatigue tugged at my eyelids, the rain and lights weaving a spell of subtle enchantment around me. Turning to retrace my steps, I cast a final glance over my shoulder. The lights, now subdued and preparing for slumber, continued their graceful dance upon the lake's surface. Back in my room, cocooned in my blanket's warmth, I watched as the lights persisted in their nocturnal waltz, their luminosity dimming with the intensifying rain. Drifting towards sleep, I pondered the possibility of encountering them again, or if this night's spectacle was a solitary gift bestowed upon me. In the ensuing months, I found myself drawn to the window on rainy nights, seeking that ethereal glow upon the lake's surface. Sometimes, glimpses of light would flicker, leaving me to ponder whether they were my mysterious visitors or mere tricks of nature's play. Uncertainty intertwined with wonder, hinting at the magic lingering just beyond our ordinary perceptions, awaiting a willing observer. The lake, a keeper of secrets beneath its tranquil waters, continued to mirror the ever-changing sky, preserving its mystique. And on hushed evenings, when the rain whispered its lullaby, a faint hum carried on the breeze, a gentle reminder of that enchanting night when reality blurred with the extraordinary. Story 11. As the evening air embraced me with the gentle whisper of autumn, I strolled along the meandering forest path, feeling the cool caress against my skin. The ancient trees above stretched their branches towards a sky painted in deep purples and muted oranges, their leaves rustling a soft lullaby in the dimming light. Each step I took on the cushioning moss beneath seemed to sync with the forest's own heartbeat, creating a soothing rhythm. These twilight walks had always brought me peace, but this night carried a different aura. A peculiar stillness lingered in the air, as if the forest itself was holding its breath, anticipating something unknown. With darkness settling among the trees, my eyes caught the first glimmer, a delicate, gentle glow hovering between two weathered trunks. It pulsed leisurely, akin to a slumbering heartbeat, casting soft shadows that danced upon the tree bark. Initially mistaking it for a firefly, I soon realized these lights glowed with a steady, mesmerizing rhythm unlike any firefly's flicker. More lights emerged, each maintaining its own gentle pulse, creating a mesmerizing display that hung in the air like suspended dewdrops. Their warm, golden light reflected off the evening mist, forming halos that swirled around the forest floor. The deeper I ventured into the woods, the more lights appeared, weaving intricate patterns that seemed purposeful, almost like earthly constellations. The usual sounds of the forest had faded into a profound silence, a presence rather than an absence. Moving at a measured pace, I noticed the lights subtly shifting in response to my presence, maintaining a respectful distance. Their curiosity mirrored my own, creating an unspoken connection. The mist thickened, yet instead of obscuring my vision, it enhanced the light's glow, creating halos that merged and separated in a graceful dance. A subtle scent wafted through the mist, ancient and sweet, evoking memories of old books, honey, and the earthy dampness of the forest floor. Time seemed to lose its grip as I wandered, the forest transforming into a sanctuary of soft light and shadow, each moment flowing seamlessly into the next like a gentle stream. Minutes blurred into hours as the lights guided me deeper into their enigmatic realm. Amidst the golden lights, a single blue glow appeared, pulsing with a deliberate rhythm, as if attempting to communicate. It moved gracefully, tracing patterns in the air resembling unfamiliar writing. Intrigued, I observed as other lights joined in, arranging themselves in intricate formations that turned the forest into a living gallery of light. A soft breeze stirred the leaves, carrying a melody that was neither music nor whispers, but something ethereal in between. It seemed to resonate from the lights themselves, evoking unnamed emotions and memories that transcended my own. Finding a moss-covered log, I sat down, enveloped by the gentle spectacle. The lights continued their mesmerizing dance, some drawing near enough to share a subtle warmth, like distant candles. The blue light's pattern grew more intricate, revealing swirling galaxies within each orb of light. Hints of other colors emerged, blending in perfect harmony as the forest floor pulsed with a faint luminescence ignited by the lights above. Lost in the enchanting display, time became irrelevant, marked only by the light's pulse and my steady breath, synchronized with their tranquil tempo. Worries and thoughts dissipated, replaced by a profound sense of tranquility. With the first light of dawn brushing the sky, the lights began to fade gradually, like stars surrendering to morning's embrace. The blue light lingered, nodding in my direction before vanishing. Returning along the forest path as the morning mist lifted, I carried a sense of having experienced something ancient and timeless. The forest had shared a mystery, deepening my reverence for the unknown. In dreams, the lights dance at the edge of my consciousness, almost revealing their secrets before slipping away. On quiet nights, when the moon hides and the wind whispers through the trees, I sense that distant harmony, a beckoning back to the forest where eternal lights perform their timeless ballet in the darkness. The mystery endures, a reminder that some questions are more beautiful unanswered, and some experiences more profound in their mystery. The forest holds its secrets close, unveiling them only to those who approach with open hearts and minds, ready to embrace wonder without seeking explanations. Story 12. The soft patter of rain against the window panes enveloped my grandmother's ancient abode in a lulling melody. Moonbeams filtered through the sheer curtains, casting gentle shadows on the worn wooden floors. I had journeyed here to sift through her belongings, following her serene departure, spending my nights cocooned in memories and the familiar scent of aged wood and lingering lavender that embraced every nook. On this particular night, the air held a different weight, a contemplative heaviness. The antique grandfather clock in the hallway marked time with its deep, resonant ticks, creating a hypnotic rhythm to accompany my solitary presence. With cautious steps, I wandered through the rooms, my fingertips trailing along the surfaces of furniture cloaked in white draperies, each piece a silent sentinel of bygone days. Drawn like a moth to a flame, I found myself standing before the master bedroom at the far end of the corridor. The door sighed softly as I nudged it open, revealing a room bathed in silvery moonlight. Frozen in time, everything remained exactly as she had left it. The perfume bottles meticulously arranged on the vanity, the lace doilies positioned with precision, and the grand Victorian mirror hanging on the wall, its ornate frame gathering dust. Yet a thin crack marred the mirror's surface, a flaw I was certain hadn't existed during my previous visit. As I inched closer, the crack fragmented my reflection in curious ways, distorting my image slightly, as if I were peering at a stranger wearing my own face. The longer I stared, the more anomalies I discerned. The curtains behind me swayed in the reflection, despite the windows being shut tight. The shadowy corner of the room appeared denser, more substantial than reality dictated. A cool whisper of a draft grazed my skin, carrying a faint whiff of my grandmother's signature rose perfume. Memories flooded my mind, of shared afternoon teas, hushed conversations, and the tales she spun about the enigmatic mirror. She had always insisted it harbored secrets, that at times, when she gazed into it under the cloak of night, she glimpsed echoes of other eras, other potentialities. The clock struck midnight, its chimes resonating through the house. In the mirror, I observed my reflection's eyes blink a fraction of a second after mine. A subtle disparity, yet enough to send a delicate shiver down my spine. The crack in the mirror seemed to shift, alive beneath the surface. Entranced, I watched as the room's illumination morphed. The moonlight took on a warmer hue, reminiscent of the afternoon sun. Dust motes pirouetted in golden beams visible only in the mirror, not in the room behind me. The reflection painted a picture of the room's former self, the wallpaper vibrant, the furniture unveiled, and in the corner, a rocking chair swaying ever so slightly. My grandmother had cherished that rocking chair. In reality, it remained motionless, shrouded in white. But in the mirror's realm, it rocked gently, as if recently vacated. Details unfurled before my eyes, a half-empty teacup on a side table, spectacles resting beside it, a book left open as if its reader had momentarily departed. The crack in the mirror continued its subtle progression, resembling frost creeping across glass, yet uttering no sound. Each new fracture unveiled another layer of the room's history, fleeting glimpses of different seasons, different years, different lives, intertwined within these walls. I glimpsed ghostly images of familial gatherings, quiet interludes, and solitary evenings, all overlapping like translucent photographs. In one shard of the mirror, I caught sight of what appeared to be my grandmother as a young woman, arranging flowers in a vase. The vision flickered, transitioning to another tableau, her movements so familiar, so tangible, that my heart clenched with recognition. The scent of roses intensified, mingling with the perpetual lavender essence that enfolded the house. The rain outside crescendoed, its rhythm synchronizing with the rocking chair's gentle sway in the mirror. I noted that my reflection now moved slightly out of sync with my own actions, as if time flowed at a different pace. When I reached out to touch the mirror's surface, my reflection hesitated before mirroring my gesture. The glass felt cool beneath my fingertips, yet the coolness pulsed, responding to my touch like a sentient being. The crack beneath my touch bore a subtle texture, akin to flowing water rather than shattered glass. Tracing its path, a soft hum, almost imperceptible beneath the rain and the clock's steady cadence, teased my senses. Time lost its meaning as I stood there, ensnared in the mirror's tapestry of memories and possibilities. The reflection of the room continued to shift and evolve, offering glimpses of pasts and potential futures, while the physical room remained motionless and bathed in moonlight. I comprehended why my grandmother had whiled away countless evenings here, peering into this mirror with a knowing smile gracing her features. Gradually, I noticed my reflection donning a faint smile, absent from my own face. It was her smile, the one she wore when she harbored secrets not yet ripe for sharing. The crack in the mirror extended, forming a pattern resembling script, though the letters eluded my comprehension, shifting too swiftly to decipher. As the night deepened, the boundary between reality and reflection blurred. The fragrances of roses and lavender intermingled with the rain's melody and distant chimes, weaving a sensory tapestry that felt both alien and intimately familiar. In the mirror, the rocking chair swayed on, and I fancied I could hear my grandmother's voice humming an ancient lullaby. I lost track of time as I stood there, ensnared in the mirror's enigmas. When I finally stepped back, my reflection lingered for a moment before following suit, its smile ebbing away like the final notes of a cherished melody. The crack in the mirror had ceased its expansion, now forming an intricate pattern reminiscent of a spider's web kissed by morning dew. As I readied to depart the room, I stole one last glance. My grandmother stood in my place in the mirror, her youthful countenance illuminated by that familiar knowing smile. With a gentle wave, she beckoned, and though I kept my arm at my side, my reflection reciprocated the gesture. The scent of roses swelled one last time before dissipating into the tranquil night. The crack in the mirror remained unhealed. Some things I've come to understand are not meant to be repaired. Oftentimes, the fractures are where light seeps in, where the boundaries between reality and possibility thin enough for magic to peek through. Now, on hushed rainy nights, I am drawn to that room, to stand before the mirror and witness my reflection mirroring my grandmother's smile, exchanging secrets in the soft language of memory and what could have been. The mirror lingers, its fracture neither expanding nor diminishing, cradling myriad tales within its shattered surface. And occasionally, when the moonlight bathes the house just so, and rain serenades the night, I glimpse ephemeral echoes of yesteryears, alternate existences, and unexplored potentials, all pirouetting just beyond the glass, awaiting discovery by those patient enough to peer and wise enough to recognize the enchantment in a fractured reflection. Story 13. The aged wooden floorboards always whispered softly beneath my steps, their gentle creaks weaving a familiar lullaby in the hushed embrace of night. Yet on this particular evening, as I wandered through my grandmother's home, a subtle shift in the usual tranquility caught my attention. A warm amber light seeped through the slender crevices between the weathered planks, casting delicate ribbons of radiance upon the tired wood grain. For 3 weeks, I had been a guardian of this house, overseeing its care during the winter hiatus of the renovation crew. Tools left behind by the contractors lay scattered across the rooms, covered in white sheets that fluttered gently in the breath of the ancient heating system. This house was a marvel of Victorian artistry, boasting intricate moldings and hand-carved banisters that cascaded like frozen streams along the staircase. On that particular night, I found myself seated in the library, enveloped by the comforting scent of aged books and supple leather, when my eyes were drawn to the elusive light. Initially, it was but a faint glimmer, akin to the soft flicker of a candle viewed through frosted glass. The light pulsed with a rhythm almost synchronized with my breath, casting dancing shadows upon the ceiling in mesmerizing patterns. Curiosity, rather than fear, tugged at me, guiding my steps towards the warm glow. Beneath my wool-socked feet, the floorboards exuded a gentle warmth as I followed the illuminated trails across the room. The customary nocturnal symphony of the house enveloped me. The grandfather clock's muffled ticking from the hallway, the distant whispers of wind through the eaves, and the occasional settling of time-worn timber. In my grandmother's tales, she often spoke of the house's enigmatic nature, regaling me with accounts of hidden passages and concealed chambers, her voice assuming a dreamlike cadence as she recounted her childhood explorations here. Previously dismissed as mere fables for a young mind, her stories now lingered in my thoughts. The light intensified near the bay window, where an antique reading chair languished in shadow. Kneeling to inspect the floor closely, I discerned an unusual geometric pattern within the wood grain, distinct from the surrounding boards, a design reminiscent of a compass rose. Tracing my fingers along the edges, I detected deliberate irregularities in the wood, notches and grooves that seemed purposefully etched. The pulsating light beneath my touch emitted a subtle vibration, akin to the purr of a contented feline. Time ebbed indistinctly as I delved into the floor's mysteries. Hours or minutes slipped by unnoticed. The echoes of the grandfather clock's chimes seemed distant, as if veiled in velvet layers. The light's cadence synchronized with my heartbeat, fostering a tranquil melody that weighed upon my eyelids. Reclining in the reading chair, I observed golden specks dancing in the air, captured by the enigmatic light and swirling in elegant formations. They mirrored the sunlight's playful dance through my grandmother's crystal prisms, scattering rainbow hues across the walls on summer afternoons. It felt as though the house sought to convey a message, though its essence eluded my grasp. Every creak and settling murmur now carried significance, akin to a language slowly unfurling before me. The light continued its soft pulsing, casting shadows that appeared almost like cryptic inscriptions on the walls. Or perhaps it was my imagination, intoxicated by the serene ambience. A fleeting slumber overtook me in the chair, and upon awakening, the first tendrils of dawn seeped through the windows. The mysterious light had waned, yet a lingering warmth lingered within the floor. As I rose and stretched, my foot brushed against a small brass ring, barely visible amidst the floorboards. a discovery I was certain had not existed prior. In the days that ensued, glimpses of the light would occasionally manifest, each time in varied corners of the house, just as sleep beckoned. The brass ring remained untouched, a puzzle left unsolved. Certain mysteries, I concluded, were best left as ethereal queries, their solutions drifting beyond our reach like specks of dust in a sunbeam. Even now, years later, during visits to the old abode, I find myself gazing at the floors at twilight, anticipating that familiar, warm radiance. In the liminal realm between wakefulness and slumber, I believe I discern it, the gentle amber light, pulsating like a heartbeat beneath the floorboards, beckoning me to a mystery that craved no resolution. Story 14. In the quiet of my study, raindrops tapped against the window panes, creating a gentle melody that wove through the room like a lullaby. The crackling fire painted shadows on the walls, casting a warm glow that flickered in harmony with the dancing flames. The old house sighed and settled, its ancient bones adjusting to the night's embrace. A cup of chamomile tea exuded a fragrant steam, mingling with the scent of weathered books that lined the shelves. These solitary evenings, when the world hushed to a whisper and time slowed its relentless march, always brought me solace. The grandfather clock in the corner marked time with a soft, steady tick, its pendulum swinging in hypnotic arcs. The amber light from my reading lamp created pools of light that pulsed in sync with the house's breathing. Amid this tranquil symphony, a subtle shift caught my attention. The ambient sounds of the house seemed to alter, a faint presence weaving through the familiar soundscape. Beneath the rain's patter and the clock's rhythm, I picked up on a new element, footsteps, soft and hesitant, as if tiptoeing through the rooms above. Living alone in this house for 7 years, the realization of these unseen footsteps sent a shiver down my spine. Rational explanations flickered through my mind. The settling of the house, a branch brushing the roof, but the deliberate cadence of the steps hinted at a consciousness behind them. Setting my tea aside, I stood and made my way to the staircase, drawn by the mysterious sounds above. The footsteps continued, pausing at intervals as if exploring each room on the upper floor. The air grew thicker, carrying an essence of attention that heightened my senses. Instead of fear, curiosity gripped me as I climbed the stairs, each step taken in silence, the house holding its breath in anticipation. Moonlight filtered through the window, casting a soft glow on the hallway as I followed the elusive sound. Photographs on the walls seemed to shift, faces in them subtly changing when I glanced away. The temperature dropped, my breath forming delicate clouds in the still air. Yet, an inexplicable calm settled within me, guiding my steps towards the master bedroom where the footsteps led. As I reached the door, the sounds ceased, leaving a charged silence in their wake. Opening the door, I beheld a room unchanged, but for an electric energy that tingled in the air. Moonlight painted shifting patterns on the floor, illuminating my grandmother's old music box, open and silent, a single dried rose petal beside it. Tracing the invisible path left by the footsteps, warmth lingering in their wake, I followed their circular journey to the window seat. A faint scent of lavender and vanilla lingered, a ghostly echo of a past presence. A handprint on the window, untouched by the rain, hinted at a recent visitor. In that moment, understanding dawned. The footsteps were not an intrusion, but a gentle return, a reminder of the layers of life and memory woven into the essence of the house. It was a sanctuary of moments preserved in time, where echoes of the past danced with the present. Returning to my study, a profound peace enveloped me, leaving the music box open upstairs. In the quiet hours, when rain whispered its secrets and the fire murmured low, the footsteps revisited, threading through the house like invisible stitches binding past and present. The cold tea on the table mattered little as I sat, enveloped in the harmonious blend of rain, clockwork, and those ethereal steps above. In this house, solitude did not equate to loneliness. It bridged the gap between what was and what is. Threads of memory intertwined, forming a tapestry of whispered conversations that transcended time. And so I found comfort in the knowledge that within these walls, the past and present coexisted in a delicate dance of sound and memory. Story 15. The gentle rhythm of raindrops tapping against my bedroom window had transformed into a soothing melody over the past few weeks. Each droplet carried with it a whispered secret, tracing intricate patterns as it slid down the glass, dancing in the soft evening light. In my grandmother's old house, a unique tranquility had always lingered, but since it had passed into my hands, I began to perceive how the silence itself seemed to hold a breath, a life of its own. The rain gifted an unexpected warmth, coaxing the garden outside my window into a vibrant display of life. Roses painted in deep crimson and delicate pink adorned the weathered trellises, their petals adorned with glistening droplets that shimmered like pearls in the fading daylight. This garden had been my grandmother's pride, and now, months after her departure, it flourished with a fervor that surpassed any memory from her time. It was on one of those rainy evenings that I first glimpsed something peculiar. The roses moved in a way that defied the gentle breeze. Their heads would tilt ever so slightly, as though tracking an unseen presence. Initially, I brushed it off as a trick of light refracted through the rain-streaked glass, but as darkness draped over the garden, the motion grew more distinct. The fragrance of roses began to permeate the house, seeping through closed windows. It wasn't the sweet perfume of summers spent assisting my grandmother with her beloved flowers. This scent carried something deeper, a whisper of earth, of ancient memories, of secrets buried in shadows. The aroma intensified at night, especially during the rain, trailing me from room to room. In my grandmother's study, I stumbled upon her gardening journals, bound in weathered leather and filled with her graceful script. Amidst meticulous notes on soil compositions and pruning methods, I unearthed intriguing entries detailing conversations with the roses. She inscribed how they would impart wisdom to her during twilight, sharing insights from the depths of the earth. Such fanciful notions had always been attributed to her age, yet enveloped by the persistent perfume of roses and the gentle symphony of rain, doubt began to creep in. On a particularly hushed evening, I ventured into the garden. The grass felt cool and damp beneath my bare feet, and dew from the rose petals trickled onto my skin like soft kisses. As I delved deeper into the garden, the roses inclined towards me, forming a corridor of blooms that led to my grandmother's cherished bench, now partially concealed by climbing vines. The whispers grew more distinct then, not words per se, but a primal essence. They spoke of growth and decay, of cycles revolving beneath the soil, of memories entwined in root and stem. Each rose seemed to cradle a fragment of something vast, something evolving long before my arrival. In my grandmother's final journal entry, she chronicled a special rose, one that bloomed in an ethereal shade of blue. She claimed it only appeared during the new moon, its petals cradling the accumulated wisdom of all who had tended to this garden before. I had never beheld such a rose, but on certain nights, when the rain fell just right, I glimpsed an otherworldly blue glow amidst the more ordinary blooms. The house now murmurs and settles around me, while the garden continues its gradual expansion. New roses emerge in unexpected nooks, scaling the kitchen windows, weaving through the porch railings, their petals pressing against the glass like inquisitive faces. In the realm between sleep and wakefulness, I sense a flicker of comprehension in their whispers. A letter from my grandmother, concealed within the final pages of her journal, bore a cryptic admonition. The roses remember, my dear. They remember all. Listen, but guard their secrets. I've begun to grasp her meaning. With each passing night, each raindrop, each unfurling petal, the whispers grow clearer. The garden has changed me, Or perhaps it has stirred something dormant within me, seeds awaiting the right season to bloom. I find solace among the roses, especially in those silent hours when the world holds its breath between day and night. Their whispers form a language I almost comprehend, a melody that flits on the edges of understanding. The neighbors remark on the roses blooming out of season now, their glow under the night sky. They steer clear of the garden's vicinity. Perhaps they sense what I've come to realize, that this is no ordinary garden, and these are no ordinary roses. They harbor memories within their petals, secrets within their thorns, and wisdom within their roots that transcends mortal grasp. I tend to the roses as my grandmother did, but now I listen more than I prune. On rainy nights I nestle amidst them, blending my whispers with their chorus. Sometimes I find myself speaking in unfamiliar tongues, divulging secrets I never knew I held. The roses listen, and the garden thrives, and somewhere within this verdant sanctuary I feel my grandmother's essence, tending to her cherished flowers, partaking in their timeless discourse. The rain persists, and the roses continue their murmurs. Perhaps one day I'll decipher all they strive to impart. For now, I remain their vigilant guardian, custodian of their secrets, a student of their enigmatic wisdom. And on those nights when the moon hides and the air brims with anticipation, I seek out that elusive blue rose, acknowledging that some mysteries are destined to elude us, their allure resting not in resolution, but in perpetual whispered potential. Story 16. The soft patter of rain against my window pane created a hypnotic melody as I sat in my cozy study, enveloped by the scent of old books and the warm glow of my reading lamp. The worn leather-bound volumes that filled my shelves held within their pages countless tales, yet none quite as peculiar as the one unfolding before me. As night descended upon the world, a deep resonance drifted through the air, subtle at first, like a distant echo lingering in the stillness. My curiosity was piqued by the ancient legends that whispered of a bell tower hidden beneath the dark waters of the lake near my home. Local lore spun tales of a medieval church that once stood proudly where now only the tranquil lake lay, its bell tower submerged by a long-forgotten catastrophe. It was said that on certain nights, under the perfect alignment of celestial elements, the bell's chime could still be heard, its ethereal sound transcending the barriers of water and earth. Drawn by an inexplicable pull, I ventured towards the shore as the rain continued its gentle serenade. The air was thick with the earthy fragrance of rain-soaked soil and pine needles. With each step, my boots sank softly into the damp ground, adding a rhythmic undertone to the symphony of rainfall. The lake's surface glistened like a sheet of dark glass, disturbed only by the steady cascade of raindrops from above. The tolling of the submerged bell grew more pronounced as I neared the water's edge, its resonance muffled yet captivating, as if veiled by layers of velvet. Each toll reverberated not just in my ears but deep within my being, forging a connection to something ancient and enigmatic. The bell's tone was unlike any I had ever heard, somber and profound, its harmonies stretching beyond the bounds of ordinary perception. Standing at the water's edge, a peculiar sight caught my eye. Amid the rain's curtain that veiled the lake, a perfect circle of calm water, about 30 feet in diameter, shimmered like polished obsidian, mirroring the cloudy night sky with eerie clarity. The boundary between this serene pool and the rain-dappled lake beyond was sharply defined, as if sketched by an invisible hand. Mesmerized, I observed as the tolling bell fell into a rhythmic pattern, 3 deliberate strikes followed by a pause, then 2 swift peals. This sequence unfolded with uncanny precision, each toll aligning seamlessly with my own measured breaths. A delicate mist began to rise from the still pool, coalescing into ethereal shapes that swirled and danced in the nocturnal air. Within these ephemeral forms, shadowy figures moved with a grace that hinted at ancient rituals and ceremonies. The longer I gazed, the more defined these spectral shapes became, though they eluded precise description. The ambient temperature fluctuated subtly, wafts of warmth drifting past like intangible whispers. Each thermal shift carried fleeting echoes, murmured invocations, the rustle of ancient garb, the creak of weathered pews. These ghostly sounds, ephemeral and faint, wove a tapestry of the past, intermingling with the hypnotic toll of the bell and the gentle rain. Time seemed to warp in that mystical moment, measured not by minutes, but by the steady heartbeat of the tolling bell. The misty forms continued their hypnotic ballet, and glimpses of anomalies flickered. Soft lights beneath the water's surface, ripples defying the lake's natural rhythm, shadows sand's origin. With the night's progression, the circle of calm water began to rotate, a graceful vortex that drew the mist-shrouded figures into its silent dance. The bell's toll assumed a new quality, distant yet clear, as if transcending temporal layers rather than mere water. Its harmonies shifted, revealing notes that existed in the spaces between conventional tones. The rotation of the still pool quickened, a fluid choreography devoid of chaos, akin to a celestial waltz. The misty figures elongated and contracted in harmony with this cosmic motion, hinting at a grand design beyond mortal comprehension. Gradually, as gently as it began, the spectacle waned. The serene circle dissolved, the rain reclaiming the lake's entirety. The bell's toll faded to a whisper, its pattern fading into the night's embrace. The mist figures dispersed like wistful sighs, leaving behind the echo of their enigmatic dance. Amid the soft rain, I felt no fear, no urge to unravel the mysteries before me. Instead, a profound tranquility enveloped me, as though I had glimpsed a realm between reality and dreams. The questions that lingered were not burdensome but comforting, beckoning contemplation rather than hasty answers. Retracing my steps through the rain-kissed night, the bell's resonance lingered, a silent hum that tethered me to a primal, ageless force. My footfalls matched its rhythm, my breaths harmonizing with its spectral song. Back in my study, I chronicled the otherworldly encounter, though I knew my words could never capture its entirety. The rain persisted in its gentle lullaby, and within its cadence, I sensed the echo of the submerged bell, weaving tales that transcended mortal understanding. As slumber beckoned, I comprehended that some enigmas were not meant to be unraveled, but embraced, cherished for the magic they bestow upon our lives. The submerged bell would continue its nocturnal serenade, its purpose veiled in mystery, resonating through the depths of time. And perhaps, in that ambiguity, lay its true allure. Story 17. Amidst the soothing lull of waves caressing the wooden hull of the Aurora, I found myself entranced in my cabin. The gentle flicker of my oil lamp painted dancing shadows on the cabin walls, while outside, a dense fog enveloped our vessel in a mystical embrace. The brass clock on my desk, its rhythmic ticking echoing through the night, announced the arrival of midnight. Time at sea seemed to bend and sway, days merging seamlessly into nights, guided only by the shifting watches and the rituals that governed our maritime existence. For 3 months I had served as the ship's doctor, but a sense of otherworldly enchantment now lingered around the Aurora. It was subtle at first, a mere whisper in the wind. During my nightly rounds, attending to a sailor's injury, a haunting melody, not of earthly origin, seemed to echo from the very bones of the ship. It was a melody that tugged at the heart, a siren's song veiled in comfort. As weeks drifted by, more peculiarities unfurled like petals of a strange flower. The navigator found his charts rearranged each dawn, the compass spinning erratically before settling on a course divergent from the stars. Our destination, a shifting mirage on the horizon, eluded our grasp, a ghostly harbor forever out of reach. Whispers among the crew spoke of dreams woven with threads of an ancient port, a beacon in the fog-shrouded mists. The Aurora would glide towards this elusive harbor in their slumber, forever nearing yet never touching its hallowed shores. I meticulously chronicled these anomalies, observing how the ship's very essence shifted with the lunar phases. Under the full moon, the deck exuded a gentle warmth, the ship's bell tolling at unfathomable intervals. One tranquil night, a subtle shift in the ship's movement beckoned me to the deck. The fog, aglow with ethereal light, cradled us in an embrace of infinite possibilities. The air hummed with ancient whispers, and the wooden deck pulsed beneath my touch like a living entity. Shapes materialized and dissolved in the luminous mist, blurring the line between reality and dreams. Beside me, the captain stood, his weathered features serene in the mystical radiance. "She's searching," he murmured, as if the aurora itself harbored a yearning that transcended the confines of our journey. Months drifted by like phantoms, and the ordinary world faded into obscurity. Letters ceased, time lost its grip, and the crew embraced the enigmatic voyage with tranquil acceptance. The ship's log became a tapestry of poetic musings, navigating by heartbeats, weather as memories, and course by the ancient star's song. My pocket watch, a relic of time, faltered in its ticking, echoing the surreal rhythm of our strange odyssey. A mysterious door, elusive and enigmatic, appeared and vanished throughout the ship, a silent harbinger of mysteries untold. The constellations above rearranged themselves, weaving tales of forgotten lore, while lights danced on the horizon in hues unseen by sea or sky. In the quiet hours before dawn, the ship spoke in a language of wind and wave, of stories older than time itself. As the aurora wove her ethereal path through the luminous fog, we sailed towards an enigma, not a destination, but a revelation. The crew, faces aglow with tranquil resolve, embraced the uncertainty of a journey with no end in sight. Perhaps one day, the mythical harbor would materialize through the mist, or perhaps we would dissolve into the fabric of legend, whispered in harbors beyond reach. In this suspended state between reality and reverie, the aurora guided us with the grace of an ageless dream. The fog swirled with untold secrets, the ship's bell tolling a melodic hymn known only to her. And so we sailed on through this gentle mystery, unsure if we sought a destination, or if the journey itself had become our eternal sanctuary. Story 18. As the gentle whisper of autumn leaves rustled in the evening breeze, I strolled along the winding cobblestone path. Each step I took echoed softly against the aged stones, releasing the earthy aroma of rain-kissed soil into the air. The setting sun bathed the sky in hues of muted amber and violet, casting long shadows that reached out like tender caresses across the ground. I had ventured into this enigmatic village at the onset of dusk, lured by tales of its peculiar essence. What struck me immediately was not what met my eyes, but rather what was absent, the usual bustle and hum of life that fills a community at this hour. Instead, a profound stillness enveloped the air, interrupted only by the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant song of an evening bird. The village itself seemed to dwell in a perpetual twilight, with rows of charming houses lining narrow streets that twisted and turned like slumbering serpents. Each dwelling bore the unique mark that had shrouded the village in mystery. Stout wooden doors, all firmly shut. These were no ordinary doors. Crafted from ancient oak, they displayed intricate carvings that seemed to shift and transform when viewed from different angles. As I ventured deeper into the village, the air grew heavy with a palpable sense of vigilance. The windows of every house mirrored the fading light, their glass panes holding secrets like tranquil pools of water. Not a single curtain stirred, yet an unshakable feeling lingered, as if unseen eyes tracked my every move from behind those darkened panes. My lodging for the night awaited in an ancient inn near the heart of the village. The innkeeper, a silver-haired woman with eyes the color of faded denim, had sent me peculiar instructions. Arrive before sunset. Do not, under any circumstances, attempt to open any door but your own. Her cryptic message piqued my curiosity, leading me into this realm of sealed mysteries. The inn's door swung open as I approached. the sole door that had moved since my arrival. The innkeeper stood in the warmly lit entrance, her silhouette blurred against the golden glow behind her. Without a word, she gestured for me to follow her up the creaking wooden stairs. Each footstep we took sang a soft melody, releasing the sweet, musty scent of aged wood and years of polish. My chamber was modest yet cozy, offering a view of the village square through a window. As night deepened its embrace, I detected a faint, almost imperceptible hum that seemed to resonate from the very walls. It carried a melodic quality, akin to a distant lullaby, yet beneath it lay an undertone that sent a shiver down my spine. That night, I lay in bed, listening to the mysterious melody that enveloped the village. The hum intensified as midnight drew near, accompanied by other sounds, the whisper of wood against wood, the gentle scrape of metal on metal, and a presence that might have been footsteps, or perhaps the echo of my own heartbeat. Somewhere in the realm between wakefulness and dreams, I noticed the moonlight filtering through my window, casting silver patterns upon the floor. The humming had shifted its tune, growing urgent, insistent. And then a sight caught my eye, causing my breath to hitch, movement in the village square below. In the silvery glow, the village doors swayed ever so slightly, not opening but appearing to breathe. They moved inward and outward in unison, as if a slumbering giant stirred, their carvings undulating like liquid, forming patterns my eyes struggled to follow. A note awaited on my bedside table, though I was certain it hadn't been there when I drifted into slumber. In elegant script, it read, "The doors protect us. They bar time from reversing and memories from seeping forth. Do not seek what lies beyond." With the approach of dawn, the humming waned and the doors stilled once more. The morning light unveiled a village that seemed entirely ordinary yet subtly transformed. The doors remained shut, their carvings static once again, but now I comprehended that they were more than mere barriers. They were sentinels, guarding against some unseen force. Upon my departure from the village, the innkeeper pressed a small wooden key into my hand. It exuded warmth and bore the same flowing carvings as the doors. "For when you return," she murmured softly, "for they always return." Even now, months later, the distant hum lingers in my dreams. The key rests on my bedside table, growing warmer with each passing night, beckoning me back to the village of closed doors. In the liminal space between sleep and wakefulness, I ponder if I truly departed or if I linger still, observing the doors breathe in the moonlight, maintaining their age-old watch against the currents of time and memory. The lingering question isn't what lies concealed behind those doors, it's whether they shield the village from the external world or safeguard the external world from what dwells within the village. Perhaps certain doors are fated to remain sealed, their enigmas safeguarded in the eternal twilight of enigma and awe. Story 19. The autumn breeze whispered secrets among the ancient oak trees, their branches gently swaying against the twilight sky. In my grandmother's weathered rocking chair on the porch, I cocooned myself in a woolen blanket that held her essence, a blend of lavender and Earl Grey tea. The porch boards sang their familiar tune beneath my feet as I rocked back and forth, tuning into the symphony of nature enveloping me. The hills encircling our ancestral home exuded a mystical aura, especially as the veil between our realm and the unknown seemed to thin with each passing day in this season. The mist cascading down from the hilltops imbued the landscape with an ethereal allure, a fusion of the known and the mysterious. On this particular evening, a shift was palpable. Sipping tea that turned cold in its delicate cup, I detected an anomaly in the wind's dance through the valley. It was not the usual rustling of leaves or gentle hum through the boughs. Instead, there was a melodic quality, akin to distant singing. Voices carried by the breeze seemed to echo ancient memories and forgotten legends. As the sun dipped below the horizon, elongating shadows on the hills, the haunting melody intensified. It was both eerie and comforting, like a lullaby sung in a language resonating deep within my being. The tales my grandmother spun about hill spirits, benevolent beings safeguarding our lineage, flooded my thoughts. I shut my eyes, allowing the unusual music to envelop me. The rocking chair's sway synced with the song's cadence, and I found myself moving in harmony with the evening zephyr. The air thickened with the fragrance of wild roses and fresh soil, though the rose bushes had long ceased blooming. Certain nights, as my grandmother had narrated, when the moon hung just so and the eastern wind whispered, the hill spirits congregated to serenade with their ancient melodies. We, as children, dismissed these stories as bedtime fables meant to allay our fears of the dark. Yet, perched alone on the porch that had sheltered generations of kin, doubt crept in. The mist continued its descent, wrapping me in a cool embrace that prompted me to draw the blanket closer. Amidst its swirling tendrils, elusive shapes emerged, ethereal figures moving with a grace not of this world. They flickered at the edge of sight, ethereal yet persistent, teasing the boundaries of reality and imagination. Night descended fully, and the singing intensified. Resembling whale songs heard through deep waters, the haunting melody spoke of depths unfathomable. Harmonious voices intertwined, evoking a blend of joy and sorrow that tugged at my heartstrings. Each note carried tales of yore, of lives lived and lost, of joys and sorrows witnessed by the ancient hills. My grandmother's journal lay open on my lap, recounting similar encounters in her elegant script. A particular entry described a night akin to this, where clarity dawned on her regarding the spirit's purpose. The rhythmic sway of the rocking chair had melded seamlessly with my breath, and the misty embrace felt like a gentle caress. In that moment, I comprehended my grandmother's wisdom about the spirit's song being both a remembrance and a release. Through half-closed lids, I observed as the mist wove intricate patterns on the porch, revealing graceful forms moving with intent, their significance just beyond reach. Time lost significance as I lingered, enfolded in the blanket that bore my grandmother's scent, the spirit's melody encircling me. The moon ascended higher, casting its silver glow through the mist, creating fluid patterns akin to living entities. The world transformed, softer and more enchanting, yet undeniably real. The song played on through the night, narrating tales of seasons past, of vibrant spring mornings, tempestuous summer storms, golden autumn evenings, and hushed winter nights. At the first light of dawn, the melody began to wane, the mist receding up the hills, the ephemeral dancers bidding adieu. As the morning broke, the residual enchantment lingered, akin to the fading echoes of a beautiful melody. Revisiting my grandmother's journal, I penned my own encounter, weaving it into the tapestry of family lore. The hills stood silent witnesses as my words traced the night's enchantment. Though the spirit's song had ebbed with the dawn, its essence persisted in the rustle of leaves, the creak of the rocking chair, and the tales passed through generations. With the sun cresting over the hills, painting the sky in hues of rose and gold, I grasped the essence of the spirit's song. It was not merely a melody, but a gentle reminder. A reminder that magic thrives in the quiet interludes, in the spaces between heartbeats, in the memories we cherish and the stories we recount. If we remain still and listen, we might discern its whispers, bearing messages from a realm parallel to ours, distinct yet intertwined eternally. Story 20. In the fading light of dusk, the ancient house waited patiently, its weathered wooden boards whispering softly in the autumn breeze. Rain tap danced a tranquil melody on the roof, a gentle percussion that seemed to carry whispers of times long past. As I stood in the entrance hall, my flashlight painting elongated shadows on the worn floor, the essence of aged wood and bygone days enveloped me. This house, bequeathed to me by my grandmother, held memories of childhood summers within its mysterious walls, untouched for 15 years. The familiar scent of cedar and old books cocooned me like a warm embrace, yet an enigmatic aura lingered in the air that night. Shadows seemed to dance when I turned away, and the atmosphere grew heavier with each step up the creaking staircase to the upper floor. This house harbored peculiar rooms: the library with towering shelves, the conservatory where ferns thrived under my grandmother's care, and the music room with its silent piano awaiting a musician's touch. But one room stood out vividly in my memory: the room with ebony walls. As children, we were forbidden entry, though we would eavesdrop on its mysteries, pressing our ears against the heavy oak door. Now facing that very door, an inexplicable pull drew me in. The brass doorknob gleamed dimly in my flashlight's glow, as if recently polished amidst the dust. The wood felt alive beneath my touch, engraved with intricate patterns. My grandmother had claimed the door was older than the house itself, salvaged from a distant European manor. With a silent turn, the hinges yielded, revealing the room as I remembered it from childhood. Walls cloaked in the deepest black, swallowing light and sound. My flashlight beam halted at the walls, as if devoured by darkness itself. The square room, 15 feet on each side, boasted a single window across from the entrance. White curtains swayed in an unseen breeze, casting shifting shadows on the black canvas. The polished mahogany floor reflected the room like a dark mirror, creating an illusion of boundless depth. At its heart stood an ornate full-length mirror in a silver frame, clouded with age. Approaching, my footsteps softened, the air thickening around me. The mirror's frame bore intricate symbols that seemed to morph with each angle. Some resembled unfamiliar alphabets, while others depicted celestial patterns. Outside, rain continued its gentle symphony, but within it grew distant, dreamlike. My reflection in the mirror appeared altered, subtle discrepancies hinting at unseen dimensions. Time warped within that room, minutes stretching into hours as I gazed at the mirror's evolving depths. Memories not my own flickered within the reflections. Rooms unexplored, faces unknown yet familiar. The black walls pulsed like a slumbering creature's breath, altering the mirror's images with each heartbeat. My grandmother materialized in the mirror, young and vibrant, tracing symbols on its frame. She seemed to converse with her reflection, receiving silent replies. A thunderous clap drew my gaze to the window, revealing the night's embrace punctuated by lightning flashes that made the black walls glow from within. Returning to the mirror, my reflection metamorphosed once more. A future version of myself stood there, aged yet content, sharing a secret smile with the mirror. Whispers, not menacing but comforting, intertwined with the rain's patter, murmuring in unfamiliar tongues that felt like forgotten lullabies. They emanated from all directions, merging with the rain's rhythm, coaxing my eyelids to droop. Sinking to the floor, I leaned against the cool black wall, feeling cradled in its protective embrace. The whispers, a soft lullaby, narrated tales of what was, what is, and what could be. My grandmother's voice blended with the whispers, imparting wisdom beyond comprehension. As slumber beckoned, I grasped that the room with black walls transcended understanding. It demanded immersion, an experience of the unknown. Awakening to sunlight filtering through the white curtains, casting ordinary shadows, I sensed a transformation within myself. The room remained unchanged, yet I had been gifted not with answers but with questions, not with certainty but with endless possibilities. Now residing in the house, the room with black walls became my sanctuary for contemplation, a haven for dreams and recollections. In the silent hours between midnight and dawn, when rain tapped gently on the window and moonlight painted silver patterns on the floor, the whispers revisited me. They withheld their secrets, yet reminded me of the mysteries meant to be embraced, cherished like old friends who visit in the night and depart with the dawn's first light. The mirror still stood sentinel in the room, capturing fleeting movements within its depths. And when I glimpsed a shift in its reflection, I knew that somewhere, my grandmother smiled in approval. The room with black walls safeguarded its enigmas, but shared its enchantment with those willing to listen to the tales inscribed in shadows on its infinite dark expanse. Story 21. The ancient brass lantern rested gracefully on the antique desk that once belonged to my grandmother, its soft glow enveloping the weathered wooden surface in a dance of shadows. Both the desk and the lantern had come into my possession following her passing last fall. While the desk seamlessly found its place in my study, the lantern was an unexpected addition that brought with it a mysterious allure. Its flame had burned steadily since the day I brought it home, never needing oil or a new wick. The gentle amber light it emitted stirred memories of my childhood evenings spent at my grandmother's house, listening to her captivating tales while thunder rumbled in the distance. She would always keep that lantern alight, claiming it guided lost spirits back home. In my youth, I dismissed her words as fanciful fantasies of an elderly woman. But now, as I watched the flame flicker behind the glass, I couldn't help but question my skepticism. Rain pattered against the windows of my study, creating a soothing melody that harmonized with the crackling fireplace. The lantern's glow seemed to pulse in rhythm with the droplets, as if nature's gentle percussion influenced its luminance. The brass had aged over the years, developing a patina that exuded warmth, never losing its luster. One tranquil evening, as I immersed myself in my writing, the lantern's light began to transform. The familiar amber hue subtly shifted to a deeper gold, elongating the shadows it cast across my papers like delicate tendrils. The room filled with the scent of lilacs, my grandmother's beloved flower, even though no blooms graced the winter outside. The alteration was so gradual that I might have missed it, if not for my pen leaving traces of golden ink on the page, shimmering under the lantern's glow. Each word seemed to hesitate before settling onto the paper, almost as if the letters contemplated whether to linger or float away into the air. In the weeks that followed, I observed more subtle changes unfolding. Books on the shelves gravitated closer to the lantern's light. Shelves maintained a constant warmth despite the howling winter winds. Strangely, on late nights of work, whispers floated on the edge of sleep, faint murmurings that faded when I tried to focus on them. My grandmother's journals, neatly stacked in the desk drawer, unveiled their secrets. Previously blank pages now bore her elegant script, visible only under the lantern's illumination. She chronicled acquiring the lantern from a collector who claimed it had once belonged to a lighthouse keeper unwilling to abandon his post even in death. The keeper's unwavering dedication bound his spirit to the lantern, a perpetual flame marking his eternal vigil. Her entries grew stranger as I delved further. She described spectral visitors, visible only in the lantern's light. Ethereal beings who shared their stories with her during solitary evenings. The lantern guided them, its flame a beacon for souls seeking respite on their eternal journeys. As winter deepened, I found myself drawn to the study, seeking the lantern's comforting presence. The whispers grew clearer, resembling waves lapping at a distant shore or wind rustling through autumn leaves. Sometimes, out of the corner of my eye, I glimpsed faint figures occupying the room's aged chairs, their forms dissipating like morning mist when I turned to face them. The lantern's light seemed to focus on my grandmother's old photographs, bringing the images to life with subtle movements. Smiles softened, eyes blinked, and backgrounds shifted as if viewed through rain-streaked glass. In a photo of my grandmother as a young woman, I could have sworn she turned and waved, her expression serene and knowing. I began to grasp the significance of her keeping the lantern aflame all those years. It was not merely a light source, but a gateway, a gentle portal between the living world and whatever lay beyond. The flame remained steadfast, unwavering, embodying the vigilance of its original keeper from years past. On serene nights, when rain whispered against the windows and the wind murmured softly, I sat beside the lantern, penning entries in my journal. Sometimes I noted the subtle shifts in its light, how it extended like gentle hands to anyone entering the room. Other times, I described the tranquil companionship it offered, as if my grandmother and others sat with me in spirit, their presence felt but unseen. The lantern continued its eternal flame, defying natural laws, yet feeling more tangible than many physical objects. I came to believe that certain mysteries were meant to be experienced rather than solved, embraced with an open heart. Like the lighthouse keeper in my grandmother's tales, the lantern stood as a beacon between realms, not a barrier to cross, but a meeting point where memory and mystery intertwined in eternal light. As I penned these words by the lantern's glow, a profound connection to those who had sat before it over the years enveloped me. The enduring flame on my grandmother's desk persisted, illuminating not only the physical world, but also the delicate spaces between the known and the sensed, memory and mystery, loss and eternal presence. And so it remained, a constant presence in the quiet study, its flame burning with the same unwavering constancy as the day my grandmother first brought it home. Some nights, when whispers grew clearer and shadows danced gracefully, I fancied hearing my grandmother's voice among them, her stories blending with the myriad others held in the lantern's timeless light. Story 22. As I settled into my favorite armchair in the cozy embrace of my study, the soft patter of rain against the window filled the room. Each droplet traced a winding path down the glass, a hypnotic dance in the dim evening light. The old house creaked gently, its ancient wooden bones finding solace in the autumn dampness. Beside me, a cup of chamomile tea exuded a comforting steam, its fragrance mingling with the scent of well-loved books that adorned the walls. This room, this very window, held a special place in my heart. From this vantage point, I could gaze out at the sprawling forest that bordered my land. The towering trees stood sentinel in the encroaching darkness, their presence both comforting and mysterious. The rain veiled the forest in a shimmering mist, casting an ethereal glow over the ancient trees, as if they danced behind a curtain of gossamer silk. On this particular evening, a subtle shift in the scenery caught my eye. It was as if the fading twilight breathed life into the forest, casting a spell of enchantment upon the landscape. The raindrops on the window no longer obeyed gravity, swirling and merging in intricate patterns reminiscent of ancient symbols from forgotten tomes. The glass itself seemed to ripple, distorting the view into a realm beyond the ordinary. Through this transforming window, the forest took on a surreal quality. The trees emanated a soft, silvery light that pulsed in harmony with the falling rain. Among the trunks, elusive shapes moved with grace, leaving trails of ephemeral light in their wake. It was a scene of otherworldly beauty, captivating and serene. The warmth of my teacup anchored me to the moment as I observed this mesmerizing display. My breath slowed, synchronizing with the gentle sway of the branches outside. The boundary between my study and the forest blurred, not with fear but with a tranquil merging, like colors blending on a watercolor canvas. Whispers, soft and melodious, drifted to me on the evening breeze. They carried echoes of bygone eras, of a time when worlds intertwined more freely, and windows were portals to realms beyond our own. The room's fragrance shifted subtly, adding notes of moss, wildflowers, and a hint of honeyed sweetness that spoke of distant meadows and dew-kissed mornings. In stillness, I watched as tiny lights gathered on the other side of the glass, their steady glow weaving intricate patterns that hinted at cryptic tales. The window frame emitted a gentle warmth, and the fabric of the armchair beneath my touch felt alive, like the soft embrace of moss. The transition unfolded with a gentle grace, each transformation flowing seamlessly into the next, a choreography of wonder. Time lost its hold, measured not in minutes but in the rhythm of the rain and the pulsing lights beyond the glass. The realm between waking and dreaming blurred, inviting me to venture into the luminous unknown. The forest unveiled its secrets to me as structures of moonlight and dew materialized among the trees, delicate forms that shimmered and vanished with the mist's whims. The ethereal beings that moved within this realm acknowledged my presence with gestures of light, their forms elusive yet captivating. My tea grew cold, forgotten in the marvel of this mystical encounter. The books around me seemed alive, their pages rustling in silent homage to the energy that permeated the room. Perhaps they too held windows to other enchanting realms, waiting to be unveiled by a curious soul. As night deepened, the wondrous display gradually waned, like a tide retreating from the shore. The lights dimmed, the beings retreated into the shadows, and the rain resumed its natural descent down the glass. The window frame cooled, a subtle promise lingering in its touch. Though the forest returned to its mundane appearance, a profound shift had occurred. The barrier between the ordinary and the extraordinary had been unveiled as porous, ripe with potential for magic. The window stood as a threshold between worlds, a gateway to realms unseen. Until the first light of dawn painted the sky, I remained in my chair, the forest bathed in the gentle glow of morning. The secret of that window now whispered to me, a reminder that in the quiet moments between rain and twilight, magic lingered. Whether real or a dream spun by the alchemy of dusk and rain, I chose not to question. The window remained a symbol of the extraordinary within the ordinary, a beacon of possibility. On quiet evenings, I would return to my chair, tea in hand, ready to witness the forest's mysteries unfold once more through the enchanted glass. The rain would fall, the lights would dance, and the whispers of the otherworldly would beckon me to a realm of wonder and possibility. Story 23. The vintage radio perched on my worn wooden desk hummed softly in the hushed glow of my study, its delicate static harmonizing with the gentle raindrops tapping against the window panes. The amber light cast by my desk lamp painted warm shadows across the room, enveloping me in a cozy sanctuary as the evening deepened. These tranquil moments always held a special allure for me, a time when the world seemed to slow its pace and share its hidden truths in whispers. That particular evening, engrossed in my research on historical edifices, the radio's static took on a new cadence, a shift that compelled me to pause my scholarly endeavors. Beneath the crackling white noise, faint voices emerged, distant and indistinct, yet undeniably present. They evoked memories of antiquated recordings, the kind tucked away in dusty archives, imbued with the essence of weathered magnetic tape and forgotten narratives. The voices, though muffled, seemed to grow in clarity, akin to eavesdropping on a conversation through thick walls. Their melodic tones carried a soothing quality, reminiscent of an enigmatic lullaby sung in a language just beyond my grasp. As I carefully adjusted the radio dial, attempting to tune into the enigmatic transmission, a peculiar revelation unfolded regarding my research materials. The photograph depicting an ancient stone tower from the late 1800s, which had captivated my attention earlier, appeared subtly altered. The monochromatic image seemed to pulsate gently in tandem with the rhythmic flow of the voices, a phenomenon I attributed to a trick of light, or perhaps my fatigued eyes playing tricks on me. The tower in the picture stood tall and dignified, its weather-beaten stones capturing the fading light of a bygone sunset. My notes indicated that the tower had once functioned as a telegraph station, a pioneering establishment in the region. The operators stationed there would transmit and receive messages ceaselessly, their nimble fingers tapping out dialogues that traversed vast distances. Some historical accounts hinted at peculiar incidents, operators reporting whispers amidst the static, phantom words seeming to emanate from the ether. While delving into these intriguing narratives, the radio's mysterious broadcast continued its metamorphosis. The voices intertwined, crafting a tapestry of sound that enveloped the room in their ethereal presence. They narrated tales of distant realms and eras long past, of missives dispatched but never acknowledged, of dialogues echoing through the annals of time like reverberations across a tranquil pond. The rain outside intensified subtly, its patter synchronizing with the cadence of the voices. The time-worn floorboards of my ancestral abode murmured softly, harmonizing with the symphony of sounds enfolding me. The fragrance of aged tomes and earth dampened by rain wafted through the chamber, conjuring an ambience that felt both familiar and otherworldly. In the photograph, the tower's windows appeared to emit a faint inner glow, an impossibility in a black and white image from a bygone era. The longer I gazed upon it, the more I sensed an irresistible pull towards its history, as if the ancient stones themselves yearned to impart their tales through the enigmatic broadcast saturating my study. I found myself transcribing not only the factual details of the tower, but also the emotions and sensations permeating the moment. The voices seemed to convey sentiments rather than words, the subtle fluctuations in the static mimicking the ebb and flow of human speech, forging an uncanny link between the photograph and the ambient sounds enveloping me. The hours waned akin to autumn leaves drifting on a gentle zephyr. The voices persisted in their ethereal chorus, evading clear comprehension, yet imbuing my consciousness with profound implications. They spoke of solitude and kinship, of messages traversing vast expanses of space and time, of humanity's innate urge to connect and empathize through whatever mediums available. As midnight approached, heralded by the mellow chimes of my grandfather's clock resonating down the hallway, the voices began to wane. They receded gradually, akin to waves retracting from the shore, leaving behind echoes that lingered in the recesses of my mind. The radio's static reverted to its customary pattern, though now it bore a subtle alteration, hinting at latent messages awaiting discovery. The photograph of the tower remained on my desk, its appearance mirroring that of hours prior. The windows no longer exuded a mysterious glow, and the stones appeared as resolute and unchanging as when the image was first captured. Nonetheless, a shift had occurred, not in its physical semblance but in the manner I perceived it. With care, I ensconced the photograph in my research folio, noting the chill of the paper against my fingertips, as if it had absorbed the enigma of the evening. Beyond the panes, the rain had softened into a gentle mist, veiling the world in a cloak of contemplative silence. That night, as I readied myself for slumber, the echoes of the radio voices lingered in my thoughts. They had left me not with trepidation or disquiet, but with a profound sense of communion with the past, with the myriad souls who had disseminated their thoughts and emotions into the universe through diverse conduits across the epochs. The tower in the photograph had transcended its role as a mere telegraph station. It had become a conduit between spirits, a receptacle of human experiences that resonated through the corridors of time. Drifting into the realm of dreams, I discerned whispers of those gentle voices, weaving narratives that hovered just beyond comprehension. They served as a reminder that certain enigmas are not meant to be deciphered but experienced and contemplated, akin to the gentle patter of rain on window panes or the dance of shadows in a dimly lit expanse. The tower stood immutable in its portrait, safeguarding its secrets, anticipating other auditors to unravel the whispers of yore that lingered in the static between frequencies, in the interstices between moments, in the delicate threshold between wakefulness and reverie. Story 24. The autumn breeze whispered through the aged stones, carrying the soft rustle of fallen leaves over the cemetery grounds. Along the narrow dirt path I wandered, my steps cushioned by a rich carpet of red and gold foliage. The evening air held a unique clarity that accompanies the shift of seasons, crisp and pure, scented with the earthy perfume of decay and rebirth. My nightly strolls had evolved into a ritual, a means to unburden my mind after hours confined in my study. The old cemetery, with its leaning headstones and intricate monuments, provided a tranquil sanctuary away from the chaos of everyday life. The marble angels observed my passage with unwavering gazes, their wings smoothed by years of rain and wind. On that particular evening, a different aura lingered in the air, a weightiness, a depth of significance. Perhaps it was the way the setting sun kissed the edges of each headstone, elongating shadows more than usual, or how the wind hesitated between gusts, as if pausing to listen. My customary route led me through the older section of the cemetery, where weathered stones slanted at odd angles, their inscriptions nearly faded into obscurity by time. As I walked, I noticed an anomaly about the graves. The light played tricks on my eyes, or so I initially believed. Each passing headstone cast a lingering shadow, reaching out towards me like a gentle touch before retracting. I slowed my pace, observing this peculiar occurrence with a detached intrigue rather than fear. The temperature steadily dropped as twilight descended. My breath materialized in small clouds, and the stone angels acquired a bluish hue in the fading light. The stillness deepened, broken only by the occasional distant call of a bird returning to its nest. Even my steps seemed hushed now, as if the earth absorbed the sound itself. In the heart of the old section stood an ancient tombstone, adorned with intricate carvings that defied the erosion of time. Though I had passed it numerous times before, this night it captivated my attention in a new way. The carvings seemed to shift and flow in the dimming light, creating patterns resembling writing, not in any language known to me, but in something ancient, something that spoke to a primal part of my being. As I stood before the stone, a soft humming, barely perceptible, caressed my senses. It evoked distant melodies, or perhaps the whisper of wind through a venerable hollow tree. The humming emanated from all directions and none, rising and falling like gentle waves on a shore. The shadows around me continued their mysterious dance, morphing with a fluid grace that defied the sharp angles of the tombstones casting them. They began to take shape, almost recognizable figures, remnants of humanity, or perhaps memories of humanity, preserved in the realm between light and darkness. Time lost its meaning as I lingered there. The boundary between twilight and true night blurred, and with it, the divide between the familiar world and something deeper, more profound. The humming intensified slightly, resonating in my chest, aligning with the rhythm of my heartbeat. Peripheral movements caught my attention, subtle shifts in the darkness hinting at a presence without form. The shadows no longer merely reached towards me. They encircled me, inquisitive and gentle, akin to curious children studying a stranger. Their motion harbored no malice, only a wisdom and antiquity that rendered me both infinitesimally small and strangely connected to a vast, eternal essence. The carvings on the ancient stone continued their fluid choreography, and I comprehended that they were not random designs but a form of communication, not meant for the eyes to read, but for the soul to feel. Each shifting line narrated tales of those who had traversed this path before, their lives and deaths interwoven into the timeless cycle witnessed by the cemetery. As night deepened, the humming gradually waned, and the shadows retreated to their rightful places. The carvings on the stone stilled once more, though I now understood that their stillness was but a momentary pause in a dance spanning centuries, destined to endure long after my departure. I remained until the first light of dawn tinged the eastern horizon. Dew clung to my attire, and my feet grew numb from standing so long. Upon finally turning to depart, I sensed a profound insight settle within my bones. Not a burden, but a gift of comprehension that eluded simple articulation. From that night onward, my evening walks adopted a new essence. The cemetery ceased to be merely a tranquil space for contemplation, but transformed into a living archive of shadows and whispers, each stone a chapter in an eternal narrative. Sometimes, when the light aligns perfectly and the wind holds its breath, I still catch that soft humming, beckoning me back to that ephemeral realm where past and present, light and shadow, life and death intertwine in a wondrous, enigmatic dance. The shadows extend towards me as I traverse the path between the age-old tombstones, yet I no longer question their presence. Instead, I welcome them as old companions, silent partners on my journey through the twilight realm, where memory and mystery entwine in a perpetual waltz. And at times, just sometimes, I find myself humming in harmony with that ancient nameless melody that seems to rise from the very earth beneath my feet. Story 25. The gentle patter of rain against the cobblestones serenaded the evening, each droplet a note in nature's lullaby that drifted through the narrow lanes of the ancient village. Walking along the well-trodden path, my footfalls merged with the rhythmic symphony of water, creating a peaceful harmony that wove its way between the weathered stone structures that stood guard along my journey. The mist enveloped the surroundings, embracing the street lamps in a soft embrace, their glow diffused into gentle halos that barely pierced the growing twilight. The air carried the earthy perfume of damp soil and aged wood, intertwined with the sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine that adorned the aged walls with wild elegance. Amidst the soothing evening strolls, a peculiar sensation stirred within me. Beyond the steady drumming of the rain, I detected footsteps that seemed to mimic my own, but with a hesitance, akin to a delicate dance on fresh snow. Yet when I turned to glimpse behind, the street lay empty, save for the flickering shadows cast by the swaying lamps. The following night, an invisible pull drew me back to that same street, devoid of rain this time. The sky painted in deep hues of purple and blue, as dusk settled over the village, whispering tales of bygone footsteps etched into the ancient stones. Tracing my hand along the cool, rough surface of a garden wall, the phantom footsteps once more graced my ears. They followed a route, commencing at the corner by the baker's shop, passing the weathered stone faces of the old fountain, and fading near the entrance of the former village school. The sound, now clearer without the rain's accompaniment, echoed a rhythmic tap-tap-tap, mirroring a leisurely stroll yet carrying an ethereal lightness that cast doubt upon its existence. Intrigued, I sought wisdom at the local library, housed within a merchant's former abode. The elderly librarian, her silver hair aglow in the lamplight, shared whispered tales handed down through generations. She spoke of a teacher from long ago, known for her twilight walks to ensure her students' safety and warmth. Night after night, I revisited the streets, each encounter peeling back layers of the enigma. The phantom steps sometimes accompanied by a rustle of fabric or a hint of lavender in the air, evoking a sense of a bygone era. The path of the footsteps grew familiar, unveiling subtle details, pauses at certain corners as if peering through non-existent windows, wafts of fresh bread near the old bakery's location, now a residence. Local children whispered of a tall figure in the misty evenings, her appearance shrouded in mystery, yet united by the gentle, measured footsteps that echoed through the village. On a tranquil evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and stars emerged, I settled on a stone bench near the fountain. The air, heavy with the day's lingering warmth, bore witness to the approach of those ethereal footsteps once more. This time, a soft humming accompanied the steps, carrying an unfamiliar melody that tugged at my memory. As the presence passed by, a subtle shift in the air hinted at a fleeting shadow, a whisper of a presence moving purposefully along its timeless path. The mystery of the phantom steps lingered, intertwined with the village's essence like the ancient stones of its structures. On nights when the air held just the right touch and the village hushed into evening calm, the gentle footfalls persisted, marking time in their eternal journey through the streets. The wise librarian's words echoed in my mind, suggesting that some mysteries were meant to be felt rather than unraveled, akin to the changing seasons or the passage of time. As I sit by my window on another quiet night, the familiar steps echo in the distance, a comforting presence like rain on old rooftops or the whisper of wind in narrow alleys. I ponder if the mysterious teacher still watches over the village, her nightly rounds a testament to a devotion transcending even death. The enigma deepens with each passing evening, yet remains as soothing as a lullaby, its unanswered questions floating in the realm between wakefulness and dreams. And so, the village continues its tranquil existence, guided by the rhythm of phantom footsteps that narrate tales to those who pause to listen, inviting them into a world where time and mystery intertwine in a dance of whispers and echoes. Story 26. In the hushed cadence of raindrops on my windshield, a gentle melody unfolded as I navigated the meandering path of the forest road. The waning light of afternoon filtered through the ancient trees, their branches swaying in a delicate dance to the autumn breeze. A whim led me onto this unfamiliar route, diverging from my usual journey, drawn by an unseen force. The rain embraced the surroundings, veiling the world in a soothing white noise that cloaked all other sounds. Beyond my misted windows, the forest unveiled itself like a watercolor painting, cloaked in muted shades of green and brown, kissed by fleeting rays of sunlight piercing through the clouds. The fragrance of damp earth and pine wafted through my car, infusing my senses with the pure essence of the wild. Around a bend, a mystical sight captured my gaze through the rain's curtain, a structure emerging from the mist, ethereal and majestic. Initially dismissed as a trick of light, the silhouette gradually materialized into what seemed to be a castle, its weathered walls reaching towards the darkened sky. I eased the car to a crawl, captivated by the enigmatic sight. The castle's presence was a puzzle. I knew these woods intimately, yet this grand edifice had never graced my travels before. Nonetheless, there it stood, its ancient towers cloaked in a warm, pulsating light that beckoned like a heartbeat. Acting on an unspoken impulse, I parked by the roadside. The rain had softened to a mist, casting an otherworldly veil over the castle. Stepping out, my feet sank into the damp earth, embraced by the cool, enveloping air. The closing of my car door seemed muffled, as if the very atmosphere bore secrets beyond mere moisture. A hidden path unfurled before me, its ancient flagstones singing a silent melody underfoot, framed by wild roses adorned with shimmering raindrops. Each step orchestrated a delicate note, resonating with the stone's humming vibrations. The mingling scents of roses and forest earth wove a hypnotic perfume that intoxicated my senses. The castle's entrance loomed ahead, a massive wooden door carved with shifting patterns that seemed to breathe beneath my touch. The door yielded to my hand, swinging open noiselessly on ancient hinges. Within, the castle unfolded as both expected and unexpected. The entrance hall bathed in the glow of countless candles, their flames unwavering, casting pools of golden light that floated in the air. Tapestries adorned the stone walls, their elusive images shifting when I tried to focus on them directly. Progressing deeper into the castle, my footsteps echoed softly, the air pulsing with an indefinable energy that caressed my skin. Rooms unfolded before me, each more captivating than the last. Libraries brimming with unreadable volumes, their pages whispering in passing. Galleries housing paintings that breathed life into other realms, figures moving in a dreamlike cadence. A grand piano stood in one room, its ivory keys gleaming in the candlelight, a faint melody lingering in the silence. Time ebbed and flowed within the castle's embrace, minutes stretching into hours, yet the outside world remained suspended in twilight. The misty rain, a constant, soothing backdrop. In the heart of the castle, a circular room of stained glass captivated me. The glass patterns danced on the floor, casting vibrant shadows that swirled around me. At the room's center, a pedestal bore a book that shimmered with iridescent hues, its leather cover shifting like an oil slick. Approaching the book, a palpable anticipation thickened the air. Just as my fingers grazed its surface, a soft whisper, a hint of music, teased from behind. Whirling around, I found emptiness, save for the interplay of light and shadow. When I turned back, the book had vanished, leaving a sense of tranquil understanding in its wake, as if a profound truth lingered just beyond reach. Navigating the castle's winding passages, each room revealed subtle transformations, doorways leading to new vistas, windows framing impossible scenes, staircases defying gravity. Yet far from unsettling, these changes felt like gentle revelations, the castle sharing its mysteries in whispered confidences. Returning to the entrance, the colossal door swung open, unveiling the mist-laden forest once more. The rain had ceased, but the rhythmic drip of water from leaves mirrored the thump of my heart. Casting a final glance at the castle's interior, I committed every detail to memory, knowing this encounter was singular. The homeward journey passed in serenity, the castle's enigma etched in my mind. As the familiar world re-emerged, a compulsion drew my gaze to the rearview mirror. Within, only trees and mist greeted me. No castle, no path, no ancient stone walls reaching skyward. A lingering weight in my pocket drew my hand, revealing a smooth, warm rose petal aglow with inner light. Its shifting hues mirrored the elusive book's binding, evoking memories of music that wasn't quite music and visions that defied clarity. That night, lulled by the distant rain, I pondered the castle's gift, a reminder that mystery need not be unraveled, that beauty thrives in unanswered questions, and that magic dwells in the liminal spaces between knowledge and dreams. Sometimes on rainy days with light cascading just so, I retrieve that rose petal. Its shifting colors evoke the phantom castle, prompting wonder if, in the eternal twilight between reality and reverie, it awaits another curious soul to unveil its enigmas. In those moments, I grasp the essence of true magic, not in uncovering what is real, but in embracing the fluid, wondrous nature of reality itself. Story 27. The soft patter of rain on the worn wooden shingles serenaded me as I wandered down the winding dirt path. Beneath my feet, the moist earth welcomed each step with a gentle squish, blending harmoniously with the soothing rhythm of the rainfall. In the distance, the ancient farmhouse emerged, a ghostly silhouette against the misty twilight, standing sentinel amidst rolling hills and ancient oak trees. Just a fortnight ago, this place became mine, a legacy from my grandmother. Tonight marked my inaugural visit to this secluded abode. The key she had left me felt weighty in my coat pocket, its brass surface polished smooth by years of use. Drawing nearer, a peculiar sight caught my eye. A warm, amber glow flickered behind a second-floor window, despite the appearance of abandonment that cloaked the house. The scent of damp earth and decaying leaves enveloped me as I approached the front porch, each creaking wooden step whispering beneath my weight. Wind chimes sang softly in the air, their ethereal melody floating from an unseen source in the growing darkness, a delicate harmony to the rain's steady drumming. The key slipped effortlessly into the lock, as though the house anticipated my arrival. With a long, low groan, the door swung open, releasing a musty scent of aged wood, dust, and something sweeter, like dried lavender or aged potpourri, scents my grandmother once cherished. Fumbling, I found the light switch, illuminating the foyer with the warm glow of an antique chandelier. Everything appeared as I remembered from childhood visits, yet subtly altered. The faded, elegant wallpaper adorned with climbing roses, the gleaming banister of the wooden staircase curving gracefully upwards. An unsettling sight greeted me, the small table beneath the coat hooks askew, its dusty surface disturbed in strange, sweeping patterns. Venturing further into the house, I was drawn to the living room. Ghostly shapes draped in white sheets veiled the antique furniture, but one armchair stood uncovered, facing the cold fireplace. Beside it, a small side table held a teacup. Its contents vanished, leaving a dark ring on the porcelain. The grandfather clock in the corner ticked steadily, its deep, resonant voice filling the room as its pendulum swung hypnotically. Oddly, the clock displayed midnight, while my watch insisted it was merely 7 in the evening. A soft thud from upstairs caught my attention, a gentle sound like a book settling on a wooden floor. The light I had spied from outside must have originated from that upper realm. Curiosity eclipsed my unease, prompting me to ascend the stairs, each creak echoing softly in the air. The second-floor hallway stretched before me, 5 closed doors lining the corridor, except for one, my grandmother's study, from which a warm amber light spilled like liquid gold onto the dark floor. The scent of chamomile tea wafted towards me, fresh and recent, causing my heart to skip a beat. The door opened noiselessly at my touch, revealing a room suspended in time. An oil lamp burned steadily on the desk, papers neatly stacked, all written in my grandmother's distinctive script. Something extraordinary caught my eye, the date on the topmost letter, a month after her passing, the ink glistening fresh in the lamplight. Trembling, I picked up the letter, reading the opening lines. "My dearest grandchild, I knew you would come." A sense of mystery enveloped me as I delved into the letters, each promising understanding. The wind chimes sang once more, their haunting melody drawing me to the window, where no chimes hung. Settling into the leather chair, bathed in the lamp's warm glow, the rain's gentle symphony outside, I embarked on a journey of discovery. The first letter held secrets, each word a whisper of a hidden truth. This night, in the old farmhouse, marked but the start of a tale unfolding slowly, like the petals of roses in the garden below. The rain continued its tranquil lullaby, the grandfather clock ticking in its enigmatic time. The oil lamp flickered, responding to an unseen presence, as I began to read, each letter a piece of a puzzle I never knew existed, unveiling a story that would reveal itself in its own time. Story 28. In the hushed sanctuary of the old church, raindrops played a soft symphony against the ancient stained glass windows. Seated in solitude, at the back pew, I gazed upon the intricate patterns the water painted on the colored panes, distorting the dim light that filtered through. The aged wooden bench murmured beneath me, carrying echoes of countless souls who had sat there before. It was not my intention to stumble upon this sacred place. My evening stroll through the woods had begun like any other, with the comforting crunch of leaves underfoot and the earthy fragrance of moss and pine filling the air. But as night descended and a mist of autumn enveloped the path, the familiar trail seemed to twist into unfamiliar paths. Through the trees, a weathered stone spire beckoned me, reaching toward the darkening sky. The church, frozen in time, stood cloaked in gray stone walls embraced by crimson ivy, a testament to the changing season. Pushing open the heavy wooden door with surprising ease, I stepped inside, drawn by the shelter it offered from the encroaching chill. As I sat enveloped in the deepening dusk, subtle details revealed themselves to me. The air held a peculiar sweetness, a blend of dried flowers, ancient tomes, and rain-kissed stone. Every small sound in the vast expanse seemed to hold significance. The creak of wooden beams, the whisper of wind through unseen crevices, the gentle tap of rain finding refuge in the aged roof. Rows of polished dark pews stretched before me, bearing the marks of many hands over many years. Shadows danced across their surfaces in the twilight, forming intricate patterns that almost seemed deliberate, like cryptic messages in an unreadable language. At the altar, a solitary candle flickered, unwavering amidst the stirring air. As my eyes adjusted to the dimness, peculiarities caught my attention. The hymnal before me lay open to a page untouched by time, unlike the weathered pages surrounding it. The stained glass windows depicted enigmatic scenes, figures morphing and shifting with each glance, their faces ever changing. A soft sound, A whisper mingled with a sigh drifted from near the altar, drawing my focus. Holding my breath, I listened as the humming melody grew clearer, the candlelight casting dancing shadows on the stone walls in harmony with the barely audible tune. Unbidden, I rose from the pew, my steps carrying me down the central aisle where the old floorboards murmured softly underfoot. The humming remained distant yet tantalizing as I approached, the air growing colder, my breath forming delicate clouds that dissipated in the candle's glow. Nearing the altar, I noticed a book resting open, its leather-bound pages rustling without a breeze to guide them. Though seemingly blank, I sensed an unseen script within, like words viewed through rippling water. Behind me, the church door clicked shut, a sound that should have unsettled me, yet it felt destined, welcomed. The humming ceased, replaced by a profound silence pregnant with anticipation. Reaching towards the book, I felt a gentle warmth radiate from its pages, contrasting the surrounding chill. As I extended my hand, shadows cast by the candlelight seemed to move independently, creating an illusion of their own volition. A drop of water landed on the open page, the droplet refusing to soak in, instead reflecting the candlelight in mesmerizing rainbows that danced across the blank surface. More drops followed, forming intricate patterns that hinted at ancient letters. The silence deepened, as if the very church itself listened, waiting for words I had yet to speak. The candle flame remained steady, undisturbed by the falling drops, casting elongated shadows on the stone floor that seemed to merge with my own. Time lost its grasp within that sacred space as I stood transfixed, watching the cryptic messages form before my eyes on pages that remained dry. Outside, darkness enveloped the world, the stained glass glowing from within, its figures still and watchful. Stepping back from the altar, I noticed my footprints leading only forward, a trail devoid of my journey from the pew. The candle burned brightly, unaffected by the passing hours, its flame unwavering. The humming returned, perhaps never truly gone, its ethereal melody guiding my steps back down the aisle. Each movement felt heavier and more essential than the last, a pull towards an unknown conclusion. Reaching the heavy door, I pressed my palm against its ancient surface, feeling the texture of the wood beneath my touch. Swinging open, it revealed the moonlit forest beyond, shadows dancing on the leaf-strewn path. Glancing back at the church, the flickering candlelight beckoned, the ivy swaying in an invisible breeze. For a fleeting moment, a figure seemed to watch me from a window, but upon blinking, only my distorted reflection remained. Finding my way home under the moon's gentle gaze, the path back to the church eluded me in the light of day. On rainy nights, when the wind carries a faint hum, I ponder the existence of that mystical place, where shadows play to unsung hymns, waiting for the next lost soul to discover its secrets. The true enigma lies not in the reality of the church, but in its choice to reveal itself to me that fateful evening. In the quiet hours, listening to rain against my window, I imagine the solitary candle still burning, illuminating a book of wet letters that never dry, whispering tales to shadows that may not be their own. Story 29. The rhythmic patter of rain against my bedroom window had transformed into a soothing melody, a nightly serenade echoing ancient whispers. Shadows swayed and danced on my ceiling, painted by the autumn wind's gentle touch on the branches outside. The old house I inherited from my grandmother stood on the edge of a timeless forest, where mist draped the earth in a comforting embrace. Strange occurrences had started since I took ownership of the property. Subtle at first, like phantom wind chimes and the scent of pine in my sealed room. But tonight felt unique. The raindrops fell purposefully, each one carrying a message. The darkness outside held a mysterious aura, as if the night itself had awakened. The antique dresser in my room released a soft creak, filling the air with the earthy scent of aged oak. A hint of petrichor drifted in from the open window, blending with the wooden fragrance. In that delicate state between wakefulness and slumber, a melodic hum reached my ears. Not eerie, but comforting, like a mother's lullaby from a distant memory. The sound seemed to weave from the forest, carried by wisps of mist creeping beneath my door. Draping myself in my grandmother's knitted shawl, its warmth against my skin, I approached the window. Before me, the forest unfurled in a tapestry of shadows and enigmas. Through the rain-kissed glass, I beheld a wondrous sight. Ethereal lights, akin to fireflies yet more mystical, dancing among the trees. Their movements formed intricate patterns, reminiscent of sacred geometry. Barefoot, I descended the creaking stairs, each step harmonizing with the rain's tranquil rhythm. The humming intensified, familiar yet enigmatic, reminiscent of my grandmother's garden songs in a language lost to me. The front door yielded without a sound, as if anticipating my arrival. The rain had transformed into a gentle mist, caressing my skin with cool droplets. The grass underfoot pulsed with an unseen energy that resonated within me. The forest lights beckoned, not with urgency, but with a patient understanding. Approaching the tree line, I noticed peculiar objects scattered on the ground. A pocket watch with backward ticking hands, a mirror reflecting starlight in the cloudy night, and glowing dried flowers. Each item felt significant, guiding me deeper into the mystery. The forest welcomed me with a gentle shift in the air, carrying scents of moss and moonflowers. The lights, more primal and pure than fireflies, danced around me, illuminating the path and casting shifting shadows. Time lost its grip as I ventured forth. The humming evolved into a symphony of whispers, each voice telling a silent tale. Familiar figures traversed their own paths through the forest, some translucent as dew, others solid as the trees, all moving with serene intent. Arriving at a mist-laden clearing, I witnessed swirling patterns resembling ancient script. The lights congregated around a circle of mushrooms emitting a soft blue glow. In the center, an old wooden chair from my grandmother's attic stood, though I knew it remained untouched by time. Seating myself, a profound connection enveloped me, to the forest, the lights, and every wandering soul. The mist enveloped like a familiar embrace, and the lights drew near, their warmth caressing my skin. I grasped my grandmother's unspoken wisdom, realizing the forest as a sanctuary for souls lingering to share untold stories. Not lost, but waiting, each with a narrative to weave. Time flowed around me as memories intertwined with the present. The rain's gentle percussion persisted, yet I remained sheltered beneath the celestial canopy. The lights dimmed gradually, like stars fading at dawn. The humming merged with the wind's whispers. Awakening in my bed to dawn's soft light, my grandmother's shawl draped around me, dew-kissed. A solitary, luminescent mushroom sprouted on my windowsill. Beside me, her journal lay open to an unfamiliar passage. The forest stood sentinel, and on quiet, rainy nights, the humming returned. The lights visited less frequently, but when they did, they felt like old friends. I learned to heed the forest's tales, threads in a vast tapestry of memories and souls. My grandmother's chair collected dust in the attic, yet sometimes a hint of pine and a faint lullaby echoed its presence. The forest of lost souls revealed itself not as a place of abandonment, but of rediscovery. Memories and moments intertwined, reminding me that some souls linger in different forms, ever close. Story 30. The gentle sound of rain tapping against the window panes filled the room with a soothing melody, syncing perfectly with the rhythm of my own heartbeat. Before me, an ancient chest, passed down from my grandmother just a few days ago, sat serenely in my study. Its aged wood bore the marks of time, each one telling a silent tale of bygone eras. The warm glow of my reading lamp danced across the chest's intricate carvings, casting mesmerizing shadows that beckoned me closer with each passing second. Running my fingers along its surface, I felt the history etched into every groove and imperfection. The wood was a blend of smoothness and roughness, a tactile map of countless hands that had once traced these same paths. A faint scent of old wood and brass polish lingered in the air, mingling with the earthy fragrance of the rain-soaked garden outside. The brass lock caught the light, its dull gleam contrasting against the dark wood. My grandmother had entrusted me with the key before she departed, a small yet weighty token that seemed to carry more significance than its size suggested. The house settled into an evening hush, the rain painting a blurry scene outside as the garden slipped into darkness. Within the cozy glow of the room, the chest exuded a mysterious aura, as if it existed in its own realm beyond the comforts of my study. Inserting the key into the lock produced a soft scraping sound, reverberating in the stillness. The mechanism turned effortlessly, as though anticipating this very moment. The lid rose noiselessly, unveiling a space that appeared to defy the chest's exterior dimensions. A sweet, nostalgic scent greeted me, reminiscent of dried flowers and distant memories. Nestled inside were carefully arranged objects wrapped in faded silk scarves, each hue a different shade of time. The cool touch of the fabric sent a shiver down my spine as I unwrapped the first bundle. Revealed within was a small leather-bound journal, its pages weathered with age. A pressed flower tumbled out, its purple petals retaining a hint of their former vibrancy. The elegant but faded handwriting on the pages drew me in, hinting at a bygone era with each delicate stroke. The date, though smudged, hinted at a century past. The words whispered from the page, "The mirror shows more than reflections when the moon is full." I glanced at the mirror on the wall, currently reflecting only the warmth of the lamplight. Beyond the glass, the waxing moon neared its full splendor. Beneath the journal lay more treasures, a silver hand mirror with an ornate handle, tarnished yet somehow radiant, a bundle of letters tied with a time-worn ribbon, and at the bottom, a small wooden box adorned with intricate carvings that seemed to shift in the lamplight's glow. The rain continued its soft serenade as I delved into each item. The letters, penned in various hands over decades, all addressed my grandmother. References to the watching glass and the other side peppered the correspondence, shrouded in enigmatic hints. The small wooden box remained stubbornly closed, emitting a mysterious sound when I handled it. Unlike the chest, it bore no keyhole, no obvious entry point. Its surface carvings danced between stars and eyes, blurring the lines between the two. As night deepened its embrace, I found myself ensnared in the chest's enigmatic offerings, each discovery birthing more questions than answers. The rain had dwindled to a mere whisper, the house enveloped in a profound silence, broken only by the gentle tick-tock of the hallway clock. A flicker of movement caught my eye, a fleeting shadow in the wall mirror. Yet when I turned, nothing but my reflection met my gaze. Returning to the letters, a subtle flicker danced at the edge of my vision, teasing my senses. The silver hand mirror radiated warmth as I unwrapped it, revealing a peculiar clarity beneath the tarnish. Angling it towards the wall mirror, a curious sight unfolded. The reflection showcased a room subtly different from my own. Minute discrepancies hinted at an alternate reality, a mere whisper away. Each glance revealed a new detail, drawing me deeper into its mysterious allure. The journal's words echoed in my mind as I pondered the uncanny reflections. The rain's symphony had ceased, leaving a pregnant silence punctuated only by the drip of water from the eaves. Through the clearing clouds, the almost full moon cast a silver veil over the room, illuminating the chest's brass fittings in an ethereal light. Gently returning the items to their silken nests, I hesitated before closing the lid. A charged energy threaded the air, tingling against my skin as if whispering secrets. In the wall mirror, a distinct movement unfurled, a figure, fleeting yet familiar, amidst shelves that blurred the lines of reality. Slowly locking the chest, the key's warmth lingered as I withdrew it. Outside, the moon ascended, its brilliance growing as the clouds dispersed. Tomorrow, under the full moon's gaze, the mirrors would reveal their truths. Retiring for the night, The chest remained in its place, a comforting enigma in my study. In the darkness, the rustle of silk and whispers of unseen voices swirled around me, a lullaby of mysteries untold. Before extinguishing the light, my reflection in the mirror hinted at a fleeting presence, a smile, a whisper of the past, vanishing with a blink. In the shadows, the chest stood sentinel, guarding its secrets until the next full moon, beckoning those who dared to peer beyond the watching glass. Story 31. As the rain tapped gently against the autumn leaves, a soothing rhythm enveloped my senses, guiding me along the old forest path. The air was cool and heavy with moisture, carrying the earthy fragrance of damp soil and decaying foliage. With each step, boots made soft, squelching sounds, sinking into the dark, welcoming soil below. It was on one of my evening walks that I stumbled upon the cave, hidden amidst the weathered rock, its entrance partially veiled by a curtain of thick ivy. What caught my attention was the way the wind played with the cave's opening, creating a melodic whisper that danced subtly alongside the rustle of leaves and the forest's gentle symphony. Standing at the entrance that first day, I listened to the mesmerizing harmony of wind and stone, a deep hum that resonated within me, warming my chest with a sense of peace. Day after day, I found myself drawn back to the cave, venturing a little further into its depths each time, captivated by its mysterious song. Tonight, under the steady rain, the cave's whisper took on a new quality, a structured tone that almost resembled words just beyond comprehension. With my flashlight cutting through the misty darkness, I entered the cave, where water droplets shimmered in the warm beam, creating fleeting sparkles that danced in the air. The walls gleamed with veins of crystalline material, reflecting the light in mesmerizing patterns that shifted and swirled with each step I took. The temperature dropped subtly as I ventured deeper, yet it felt more like a gentle release from noise, a lifting of unspoken burdens. The familiar sound grew clearer, a gentle hum reminiscent of my grandmother's comforting melody while she knitted. Water cascaded down the walls, creating a liquid membrane that pulsed in harmony with the cave's whispers. Reaching out to touch the wet wall, a curious connection surged through me, as if I had brushed against the skin of a slumbering giant. Gradually, the tunnel expanded into a breathtaking chamber, its ceiling soaring high above, adorned with countless tiny points of light embedded in the walls. These soft, pulsating lights, distinct from my flashlight's glow, created an otherworldly ambience, like stars through a distant haze. At the chamber's center lay a pool of still water, reflecting the glowing points in a mesmerizing display of infinite depth. The whispers seemed to rise from the pool, weaving a tale of ages past and mysteries untold. Seated on a smooth boulder near the water's edge, I switched off my flashlight, allowing the gentle radiance from the walls to envelop me in a familiar embrace. The whispers wrapped around me, swaying me in a dance of unseen forces as time lost its grip, measured only by the drip of water and the living light's pulse. In the dim glow, shapes and patterns emerged on the ceiling, resembling a cryptic language that teased the edges of my understanding. The air thickened with anticipation, a silent dialogue that transcended words, drawing me deeper into the cave's enigmatic embrace. A single drop fell into the pool, sending ripples of bioluminescence that carried fleeting images of distant memories and unknown realms. Lost in the symphony of light and sound, I sat transfixed, unaware of the passage of time as the whispers wove their tale of ancient echoes and forgotten dreams. When I finally rose to depart, a subtle shift had taken hold within me, a newfound grace in my movements, as if I had learned a secret language of the earth itself. The whispers accompanied me back through the tunnel, fading yet lingering on the edges of consciousness, a constant presence in the quiet moments between sleep and wakefulness. Though I returned to the cave many times, that chamber with its glowing walls and still pool remained elusive, a fleeting glimpse of a world beyond. Each new path within the cave unveiled fresh wonders, a testament to the ever-changing nature of mysteries waiting to be unveiled. The whispers, however, remained a steadfast companion, a gentle reminder of the realms where reality blurs and magic dances on the edge of perception. On quiet, rainy nights, hints of that blue-white glow would surface in puddles and window panes, beckoning me back to the cave, promising new revelations and endless possibilities in its depths. The mystery of the cave had become a familiar friend, a whispered secret that not all answers need to be found, and not all journeys require a destination. In the whisper of uncertainty, I found a beauty that transcended the confines of certainty, a reminder that within the quiet spaces of the world, wonders beyond imagination await, where the line between ordinary and extraordinary blurs like water over smooth stone. Story 32. The autumn breeze whispered through the rustling leaves, carrying the familiar scent of fall that only October brings. I found myself perched on the weathered bench by my grandmother's ancient well, mesmerized by the soft hues of pink and gold painting the evening sky. The stone circle of the well stood stoically before me, its history etched into its worn surface. The surrounding oak trees swayed gently, their branches creaking a lullaby that echoed through the tranquil air. My grandmother's tales of the well lingered in my mind, blending reality with fantasy like wisps of mist in a spider's web. She spoke of mysterious voices emerging from the depths on quiet nights, singing songs unheard by living ears. Initially, I dismissed these stories as mere folklore meant to entertain a child. However, after inheriting the property, I found myself drawn to this spot more often. The well exuded an enigmatic energy, a presence that beckoned me in ways I couldn't explain. As twilight descended, the first stars peeked through the violet sky, casting a serene glow. The chill of the evening wrapped around me like a silken shawl, prompting me to hug my sweater tighter. The weathered iron handle of the well pump caught the fading light, shimmering faintly like a forgotten treasure. Unused for years, the well remained sealed for safety, a relic of times past. Then a faint sound reached my ears, a gentle hum from the depths of the well, akin to a distant lullaby. Neither distinctly male nor female, young nor old, the melody resonated with the stones, causing them to vibrate subtly beneath my touch. The unfamiliar tune evoked a sense of nostalgia, weaving a tale of ancient earth and hidden secrets. Night after night I returned to the well. Sometimes the voice greeted me, sometimes it remained silent. Yet, when it sang, I felt a connection to something primal and profound. Changes began to unfold around the property. Flowers bloomed defiantly, birds congregated as if drawn by an unseen force. During one quiet evening, amidst the haunting melody, I detected faint words within the song, speaking of underground rivers and secrets veiled in darkness. The voice became a comforting presence, a companion in the growing darkness of autumn. My dreams became a tapestry of underground realms, illuminated by an ethereal glow emanating from within the stones. I followed the voice in my dreams, always on the cusp of discovery but never quite reaching its source. With winter's approach, the melodies evolved into intricate harmonies that resonated deeply within me. Researching the property's history unveiled fragmented tales echoing my experiences, stories of singing depths and living wells. Locals offered explanations of strange acoustics and shifting air pressures, yet none captured the essence of the well's mysterious voice. One snowy winter night, tears welled in my eyes as the voice serenaded me with a hauntingly beautiful melody. In that moment, amidst the falling snow and moonlit silence, I realized the futility of unraveling its origins. Some phenomena transcend human understanding, much like the changing seasons or celestial movements. The snow continued its gentle descent, each flake a whisper of the timeless song echoing from the well. I closed my eyes, surrendering to the melody that enveloped me in tranquility. To this day, the well's song persists, though not all who visit can perceive it. Some hear only the mundane sounds of the night, while others are touched by the ethereal voice resonating from the depths. The well's magic lies not in its song, but in its reminder of the enduring mysteries that defy explanation. In a world saturated with knowledge, the voice from the well serves as a gentle nudge towards the enigmatic, the unexplainable. As I pen these words, the melodic whispers drift through the evening air, a timeless ode to the earth's secrets, a melody that transcends time and space for those willing to listen. Story 33. The gentle patter of autumn rain created a soothing melody as it danced upon the cobblestones, each droplet capturing the warm glow of the vintage street lamps. Through the misty evening, I wandered alone, my steps blending seamlessly with the whispered symphony of the falling water. The path back home, a familiar journey, now held an aura of mystery, as if the very atmosphere had thickened with anticipation. My umbrella floated gracefully above me, offering a small refuge from the growing fog. The sound of droplets trickling from its edges mingled with the ambient rainfall, weaving a tranquil tune that seemed to drift through the dampened air. In the distance, a church bell tolled 7 times, its chime veiled by the weather's embrace. Approaching the corner near my usual shortcut, a subtle shift in the surroundings caught my attention. The alley, a passage I had traversed countless times, appeared subtly altered, though the change eluded immediate identification. The brick walls stood tall on either side, their weathered facades glistening with moisture, yet there was a quality to the shadows that made me pause. The entrance to the alley seemed to beckon, the fog caressing its corners like gentle fingers inviting me forward. The metal fire escapes above sketched intricate patterns against the darkening sky, their once familiar silhouettes now veiled in mystery by the interplay of light and shadow. I hesitated, torn between the familiarity of routine and the allure of the unknown. While my rational mind insisted this was the same alley I knew, another part of me, attuned to the whispers of the wind and the shapes in the clouds, sensed a shift in reality's fabric. The usual city sounds felt distant here, as if the alley existed in a pocket of silence all its own. Drawing a deep breath of the cool, mist-laden air, I took a step forward. The cobblestones beneath my feet felt unusually soft, like velvet instead of stone. My footsteps, normally echoing against the narrow walls, were swallowed by the thickening fog enveloping my ankles. The street lamp at the alley's end, my guiding beacon, seemed different that night, its light pulsing subtly, akin to a distant heartbeat. Venturing deeper into the alley, I observed the shadows cast by pipes and fire escapes moving independently, as if engaged in a slow, silent dance when unobserved. Midway through, a soft humming beneath the rain caught my ear, seeming to emanate from the very walls themselves. It held a resonance, reminiscent of a finger tracing a wineglass rim, yet deeper, more profound. The gentle vibration harmonized with my strides, blurring the line between my pace and its cadence. The fog thickened, veiling the familiar alley angles in a dreamlike haze. The bricks shimmered, their surfaces rippling like a tranquil lake stirred by a gentle breeze. Curious, I reached out to touch a wall, finding it unexpectedly warm beneath my fingertips, despite the evening's chill. Approaching what should have been the alley's end, I realized a peculiar anomaly unfolding. The passage appeared elongated, the once nearby street lamp now a distant, unattainable beacon. The humming grew louder, yet retained its soothing, melodic quality. The rain, now crafting intricate designs on the cobblestones, defied logic with its reflective dance of light and water. Time seemed fluid in this mystical space, where minutes melded with hours in a meditative haze. The rain's melody, the wall's comforting hum, and the mesmerizing water patterns wove a tranquil spell. Despite the oddities surrounding me, a profound sense of peace enveloped my being. A startling revelation halted my steps. My shadow, cast by the distant street lamp, lagged slightly behind my movements, as if deliberating its own course. The air crackled with potential, the fog taking on purposeful shapes that almost materialized before dissipating into mist once more. Faces, gentle and inquisitive, ghosted in the vapor, observing with benevolent curiosity before vanishing. Pressing onward, I understood I traversed a realm suspended between reality and reverie. Each step drew me deeper into a place existing beyond the tangible. The humming evolved into a lullaby, the rain's patterns now narrating tales in a language of light and water. Emerging from the alley, I found myself where expected, on my familiar street, mere steps from home. The city's usual cacophony resumed, yet felt distant and less substantial than the lingering hum echoing in my mind. The rain fell simply as rain now. Its storytelling on the ground ceased. Glancing back at the alley, it appeared mundane, a narrow passage untouched by the mysteries experienced within. Something had shifted, not in the physical realm, but in the ephemeral space where reality wavers, allowing glimpses of otherworldly possibilities. Years later, I occasionally retraced that rainy path home. The alley never again unveiled its secrets in the same manner, yet under the right light and rhythmic rain, I felt the wall's warmth beneath my touch, and the faint echo of that enigmatic hum lingered in memory. I've accepted some mysteries are best partially unsolved, understanding there are places where reality thins, where the ordinary and extraordinary intertwine in the rain. These places exist within the everyday spaces we traverse, awaiting those who pause to notice subtle shifts in the encroaching dusk. On quiet nights, as slumber beckons, I sometimes catch that gentle hum, pondering if, in the realm between wakefulness and dreams, the alley persists, leading to realms existing only in the perfect juncture between what is and what could be. Story 34. The soft patter of rain against the weathered window panes whispered ancient secrets into the evening air, creating a soothing rhythm that beckoned weary souls to rest. Standing before the rustic sign of the roadside inn, I watched as raindrops painted lazy patterns down its surface, capturing the faint light of my lantern. The inn's windows remained mysteriously dark, yet the silence that enveloped it drew me closer, like a silent invitation to uncover its hidden warmth. Each step I took along the gravel path was accompanied by the gentle rustle of wet leaves dancing in the autumn breeze. The air carried the earthy scent of petrichor mingled with a hint of something sweeter, reminiscent of wood smoke, though no chimney showed signs of life. My hand brushed the cool brass handle of the entrance door, its well-oiled mechanism turning effortlessly, almost too gracefully for a building of such age. As the door swung open noiselessly, a foyer greeted me, shrouded in a soft, diffused light that seemed to emanate from an unseen source, casting a warm, honey-colored glow on the rich mahogany walls. The reception desk stood empty, save for an ancient leather-bound guest book and a small silver bell, untouched and pristine. My footsteps were muffled by the plush carpeting as I approached, the intricate patterns shifting and changing beneath my feet like whispers of a forgotten tale. The guest book lay open, its pages blank except for a single message in elegant script. "Welcome, weary traveler. We've been expecting you." The ink appeared fresh, yet the page remained dry to the touch, as if the words had been inscribed days ago rather than moments before my arrival. A soft click and a whisper of fabric in the distance hinted at movement within the inn, guiding me deeper into its enigmatic embrace. In a grand sitting room, cold fireplace and comfortable armchairs stood in silent vigil, appearing untouched yet perfectly maintained. A delicate china teacup steamed on a side table beside an aging leather armchair, its contents dark and fragrant, seemingly poured moments before my presence, though no soul had been seen. Wandering through the corridors, I noticed the ever-present light shifting and following my every move, enveloping me in a comforting embrace as I explored the inn's mysteries. Photographs adorned the walls, each depicting the inn through various eras, bathed in the same soft, sourceless light, with figures watching from the windows, always just out of focus. Ascending to the upper floor, doors numbered in flowing script lined a hallway, each emitting different sounds that faded like echoes as I drew closer. Room number 7 beckoned me, its door slightly ajar, revealing a welcoming interior with crisp linens and a scent of lavender and old books lingering in the air. Seated by the window in a comfortable reading chair, I discovered a warm, leather-bound book on the side table, its pages filled with tales of travelers finding their way to the inn on rainy nights, of rooms that anticipated their guests, and of a light that embraced and guided them. The rain continued its gentle melody outside, while within the stories intertwined, blurring the lines between reality and dreams. As the night deepened, the mysterious light dimmed like a fading dream, and the stories in the book became more intimate, blurring the boundaries between the tales of others and my own experience within the inn. In that liminal space between consciousness and slumber, I realized that each guest's story ended the same way, with their words vanishing from the guest book as soon as they were written, making space for the next traveler, the next story. The last sounds that echoed in my mind as sleep claimed me were the soft footsteps in the corridor and the delicate clink of a teacup on a silver tray. In the morning, I knew I would add my story to the book, a fleeting narrative woven into the fabric of the inn's endless tapestry. And as I drifted into dreams, I understood that another traveler would soon find their way to the Inn of Darkened Lights, guided by the same enigmatic glow, welcomed by the timeless presence that had drawn me in. Their story, like mine, already written in vanishing ink, would become part of the eternal dance between darkness and light, accompanied by the soothing lullaby of the falling rain. Story 35. The gentle murmur of autumn rain created a soothing cadence against the weathered window panes of my grandmother's rustic cottage, where I had sought solace for the past few weeks. Each raindrop carried with it a whispered tale of times long past, tracing intricate patterns down the glass that held me captivated. The aged wooden floor beneath my feet sang a familiar tune, its surface worn smooth by the passage of generations. Initially drawn to this retreat for the sake of my writing, I found myself enchanted by the enigmatic aura that seemed to envelop every nook and cranny of the property. Nestled on the outskirts of an ancient forest, the cottage was shrouded in a perpetual mist, like a soft gray cloak draped over the land. Yet, what truly captured my attention was the ancient stone bridge that spanned a meandering stream at the property's edge. The bridge exuded a magnetic pull, its weathered stones adorned with patches of emerald moss that shimmered with an ethereal quality in the early light of day. A peculiar coolness enveloped me each time I approached it, carrying the sweet fragrance of wild honeysuckle, despite the absence of any such blooms nearby. The gentle babbling of the stream beneath whispered a melody, a lullaby in a language unknown to my ears. One tranquil evening, ensconced in the cottage's cozy reading nook with a cup of chamomile tea, I spied something peculiar through the rain-kissed window. A soft, azure light danced upon the surface of the bridge, reminiscent of moonbeams on water, though the moon remained obscured by clouds. The sight was so tranquil and otherworldly that I felt compelled to investigate, drawn to it like a moth to a flame, yet without a hint of trepidation. Draping myself in my grandmother's worn wool shawl, I ventured out onto the dew-kissed grass, the rain now reduced to a fine mist that clung to my skin like a gentle caress. Approaching the bridge, the azure light pulsed gently, casting rippling patterns that mirrored flowing water. The ancient stones beneath my feet emitted an unusual warmth, defying the coolness of the evening air. What unfolded next would haunt my thoughts for many nights to come. The gentle murmurs of the stream began to shape themselves into what sounded like words, a language unfamiliar yet strangely comforting, like a half-forgotten lullaby from childhood. The ethereal blue light contorted into elusive shapes at the periphery of my vision, vanishing whenever I tried to fixate on them directly. Standing in the center of the bridge, a profound tranquility washed over me. The air thickened with the sense of honeysuckle and something older, more mysterious, redolent of ancient tomes and the crispness of dawn. Time seemed to bend in this place, each moment elongating like honey dripping from a spoon. Noticing a subtle shift in the landscape on the other side of the bridge, I observed trees that appeared ancient, their gnarled branches imbued with a peculiar vitality. Unfamiliar flowers swayed in a breeze I could not feel, while the path leading back seemed to dissolve into a misty horizon beyond my focus. Every instinct urged me to step off the bridge and explore that otherworldly path, yet an unseen force held me in check. Perhaps the echo of my grandmother's cautionary tales, the stories of realms where time flowed differently, where the veil between worlds thinned like morning mist. Thus, I stood suspended between realms, listening to the murmured secrets of the water. The azure light continued its hypnotic ballet, and I swayed in synchrony, losing track of whether minutes or hours slipped by, time rendered irrelevant in that liminal realm. Upon turning back towards the cottage, the familiar path appeared simultaneously mundane and extraordinary. The rain had ceased its gentle patter, the night symphony now serenaded by the chorus of nocturnal creatures, the crickets, melody interwoven with the distant hoot of an owl. Retiring to bed that night, enveloped by the settling house, I still felt the residual warmth of the bridge's stones beneath my feet. The fragrance of honeysuckle lingered in my hair, and as I closed my eyes, the azure lights danced behind my lids, beckoning me towards dreams teeming with uncharted paths and enigmatic enigmas. In the days that ensued, the bridge stood as it always had, a modest stone structure spanning the tranquil stream. Yet, during twilight's transition from dusk to true night, when the mist crept in from the forest and the world hushed, I glimpsed the familiar azure light commence its ethereal waltz. Though I refrained from crossing the bridge again during those mystical hours, I often pondered the mysteries veiled beyond our ordinary reality. Strangely enough, a week later, while rummaging through the attic, I stumbled upon my grandmother's journal. Inside, a faded sketch depicted the same azure lights I had witnessed, etched in aged ink on yellowed parchment. Beneath it, in her elegant script, were words that sent shivers down my spine. The bridge calls to those willing to listen, but not all who heed are destined to cross. I continue to write within the cottage's embrace, drawing inspiration from the gentle rain and creaking floorboards. Yet, now I grasp that certain mysteries are destined to remain just that, mysteries. They dwell in the interstices of time, in the soft glow of twilight, in the murmured melodies of ancient streams. Perhaps in refraining from crossing that bridge, I unearthed a treasure far more precious than the unknown beyond. The realization that magic lingers in our world, content to be glimpsed, but never wholly grasped.